So, a little bit of a historic day for Let's Fight a Boss here. Dear listener, if you've been listening to Let's Fight a Boss, you know for years I've been fighting the good fight. I have been fighting valiantly against, and I'm not scared to say it, my two worst fucking enemies on the planet. Niamh and Bryan versus John. 6 fucking years of that. And today, that ends. Today, I have an ally, my emotional and intellectual equal, who shares the exact same opinion on me in literally everything. Woolie, destroy our enemies. Go!
Yeah, fuck that guy. His taste sucks. Hey, dudes, what's up?
Hey, Woolie. How's it going? It's really nice to have another one here that gets it.
Glad to be here. You know, this place is beautiful. The taste is it's incredible. I'm happy to be here. I saw John's place. It wasn't great.
I know.
Yeah.
But I'm having a good time. Thank you. I'm honored to be here on the podcast.
So there you go. Woolie prefers Brian's apartment.
Infinitely.
Yeah.
That's gonna do it for today's episode, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back at patreon.com/LFAB. Welcome to the world's strongest video game podcast. I am sitting here. To my left, it's the Bryster. That's you, Bryan.
Yeah. I'm Sega's failed mascot. That was like their attempt at a Kirby. Brystar. Thanks.
To my right, it's the Niamhster. It's the best I could do, Niamh, I'm sorry.
I'm Sony's lesbian mascot. Like, they cut me instantly. I never got off
the Twitter backlash was just... Mm-hmm. To my right. Okay, I'm just going to say it. CM Punk in AEW. Fucking dog shit. You want to see that forbidden door blown wide open? It's Woolie versus on Let's Fight a Boss. Woolie... On behalf of Let's Fight a Boss and our entire community, it is a delight to have you here, sir.
Thank you. I like that. But I think by default, since you went Nintendo and then you went Sony, that leaves me as like Xbox mascot. Mm-hmm. And what is Xbox currently doing right now?
Well, they had Blinks once upon a time.
Blinks? That's pretty cool.
The Time Sweeper.
Halo.
This is not a great
Master Chief.
And not great.
Hey, you are the fusion frenzy of this table.
How about Forza, the car? You want to be that guy?
I hear they're bringing Perfect Dark back.
You want to be grabbed by the ghoulies? That was a game.
Want to be the console that you plug your TV into to not play the console?
Well, no, that's not fair. Some people plug their PS4 into it and then they play their PS4 to their Xbox One.
I've done it. Hey.
So, guys, I have a story, and it's one of the dumbest, spookiest stories I've ever had. And when it happened, I got to this point where I was like, I need to either never tell anyone about this or talk about it on the podcast to 10,000 people.
This sounds like a normal Wednesday for you.
This was fucking weird, okay? And part of me wants to put this out there because I am curious if this has ever happened to anyone else, okay? You know those foam rollers that you use to, like, you lie on them and you, like, stretch out your back and stuff?
The ones that are kind of studded?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have one of them for, like, when my back gets tense and stuff like that. And I was using that recently, and Michelle was building something in the sitting room, as she usually is. And I kind of rolled back on it. And things start to feel like... The only way I could describe it is, like, a little soft for a second. Just what I'm wearing is like just regular gym clothes. So I'm wearing like sweatpants and like a hoodie. That will become relevant later.
Okay.
And so I roll back. Things start to feel a little like hazy. And next thing I know, I am sitting in this tunnel.
Did you faint?
And at the end of the tunnel, I can see my living room. And it's the weirdest fucking feeling. And I'm there for like maybe what feels like about 4 hours, and I'm just sitting there.
That's a feint. You're fainting.
Yeah, are you like 10 feet down from your perspective?
So not down, but like across,
Weird.
And
okay.
it's a really weird feeling. And eventually, like, my living room is getting closer, and I can see Michelle there, and she's like upset, like she's like freaked out, and I'm like in this weird headspace. I'm like, Michelle's annoyed because I've been in this tunnel for so long. And then eventually I kind of come to, and like I don't really know what's happening, and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of trying to talk to Michelle, and I'm like, what's happening? And she says the scariest fucking thing. She's like, I think you had a seizure. And I was like, what the fuck? And so I'm trying to like put together what happened, because like I've heard of people having seizures before, and like seizures are pretty fucking serious shit. Like they're, and but I feel okay.
Did you get the pins and needles or anything?
Nothing
like that. Okay.
I'm feeling like lightheaded but normal.
Yeah.
And I eventually, and there's this weird like red mark on my neck. And what happened is the hood. I was wearing like a regular hoodie, like not a zip hoodie, just a regular hoodie. My hoodie went under the roller, and just whatever way the measurements were, like whatever precise way it folded, it just cut off the blood to my brain for like a second.
Whoa.
And I was gone. And like, it's so fucking weird, because at first I thought it was like I thought maybe I had choked myself out, but it's like, I've been choked out at jiu-jitsu before. I know what that feels like. And like, you have a few seconds, you know, your brain is going to your oxygen, your oxygen is going to your brain, and you like have it.
But this was like a light switch. It was flick.
This was like, there was like a split second, and I was in the tunnel.
Dude, that's scary.
It was so fucking weird. And like, by the time Michelle got to me, I was already sitting up, so like I was fine. But it was this moment where it's like, oh my fucking god, like what just, how bad could that have been?
Could you feel your body?
See, the thing is, this was part of what made it weird. Afterwards, I went back to being normal, like instantaneously. Like I was totally fine.
But was that the adrenaline kicking in or anything?
Maybe, because then like a little bit after that, I think the adrenaline wore off, and I got real shaky. And,
Could you feel like your fingertips like vibrating and stuff like that afterwards or anything?
Like a little bit, you know, but it was one of the fucking weirdest experiences I've ever had. And like poor Michelle, she was fucking so upset. Like she was like not letting me out of her sight for the rest of the day. And it was bizarre. So to the Let's Fight a Boss audience, to the few medical personnel who are inevitably in there, what happened, me? Am I in trouble? Like, what?
Did you hit some kind of nerve?
Yeah, see that, like, whatever way this happened, it had to have been some like really highly specific, like, all these tiny individual factors came together and knocked me out for this 1 second.
Well, if I've learned anything from Kung Fu, there is probably something that could be pressure.
Yeah.
Like,
I shouldn't have made
a very
that video.
special tube.
Yeah, that was just tipped.
I made that video about how pressure points aren't real, and now this happens.
Yeah, no, Fist of the North Star. You know,
Yeah.
that's a documentary. There's clearly a spot.
Yeah, I North Starred myself.
But how long did that actually last versus your perspective?
So in my head, like literally hours, according to Michelle, about 20 seconds.
Wow.
It sounded like you fainted. I had a really embarrassing faint where I fainted in front of and my girlfriend was there. But like when I fainted, I was like in a field and it was really sunny and I could feel the sun on my skin, and I was hanging out with my girlfriend and we were just talking in a park and I was having a lovely time. And then she kept being like, Niamh, and I snapped back to it and there was ringing in my ears, and what to me was like an evening in the park was me just like fainting for 10 seconds.
Yeah, that was, and like the only other time I had this, but I remember I passed out at your party once.
Oh yeah.
Niamh was, it was funny because Niamh, well, it wasn't funny because you felt really bad about it, but Niamh was convinced that she gave me bad weed and it had a bad effect on me. I don't think that's what happened.
No.
Just jet lagged to fuck.
I think I was
just
I actually,
very
it was the
stressed.
night I got back from Montreal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was
Okay.
super depressed. I thought I killed John. Like I walked home being like, oh my god, I killed John.
Because I think,
No, that was
I think
us.
you left like not long after, and I was like, oh man, Niamh didn't even care that I fainted. But you were just like worried that I was dead and scared that people
I
would
was
hate
so
she was
scared.
rattled.
Yeah.
But that was full unconscious.
It was kind of a similar thing, really, where I just went down,
Okay.
and the 8 hours passed, and then like I like opened my eyes, and everyone at the party is like looking at me, and like my first thought was like, oh fuck, I got really drunk and made an ass of myself, like that. I was convinced that's what it was. And then like as I started to come to, I was like, wait a minute, I'm not drunk. And then I was like, oh no, everyone's gonna think I'm drunk. And I was like, guys, I'm not I'm not like drunk. But then everyone was like, no, you're okay. You're okay.
No, it's because I was doing my Joker impression and he laughed too hard.
The last thing I remember
very
is
good.
Brian being like,
Why
no, I
so
can't remember the
serious?
specific word.
I know what I said.
Brian.
Say it, friend. Say it.
Pick a card, any card. They're all the Joker. And then John was like, and there was like white in his eyes, and he just sort of like folded. It was pretty cool.
That was like a birthday or something.
Yeah, happy birthday, Brian. That was
Happy
my
birthday, Brian.
Yeah.
No, nice.
I did the last time I fainted was when I was like 10. I haven't had a seizure since then.
Have you seen Get Out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds like you're describing the
It was
sunken place.
really
Yeah,
like
that's sunken in.
Yeah,
The
like-
sunken place. That
Yeah.
sounds what your description and like especially like seeing the window get
Yeah.
smaller and all of that.
Finally, I understand what Get Out's about. I get it now. It's about fainting. It is scary.
Welcome to the culture.
But
Oh my god.
yeah, I don't know. Like, it was a really, really weird thing. And at some point, like, at first I was like, oh, I can never fucking tell anyone about this because, like, it's pretty embarrassing to, like, fucking just disintegrate yourself with a hoodie. But then, like, now it's like, I think I need to. This is how I move past this.
Yeah, I like how you go from like I will die with this secret to I'll tell everyone.
Yeah.
Like it's either one or the other.
John, you've told plenty of embarrassing stories, especially this year. You know, there's...
Oh, I don't think this is even the most embarrassing story this year. I shouldn't have parked, Woolie.
He had food poisoning and had to just dump ass real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, like, I can
All
send
right.
I can send you the full 12-minute version if you want. It does end the way I just said, but it was a whole saga.
Right to it then.
Yeah.
A lot of strange stuff happens in that park. Like last week, John and I were going for a walk. And,
Oh my fucking god!
And so
I forgot about. Okay.
So I took a photo of John walking ahead because I held back. I took a photo, but it's a big wide shot, like the big vastness of the park, and often often the kind of like left middle ground of the photograph is just a woman like Junji Itoing into a tree.
So
She's like
What?
like
so
she's found a
facing
crevice.
the tree,
Yeah.
and she has like. Okay, imagine like put your hands up like someone with their like a hold up, someone with their hands in the air. But imagine them facing a tree and like pressing into
Oh,
it.
God.
Brian has a photo of her, and like me and Brian were walking.
She's
along.
stretching out. She's stretching out, right?
No,
she wasn't moving,
Like,
though.
it was a very
Okay.
relaxed pose. Niamh.
Okay.
Brian has a photo of her.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's like planking into that
Yeah,
tree.
hang on. Is that the other one there? Yeah.
So zoom in.
That hole is made for her.
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it.
It really
It's like she's trying to listen to the heartbeat of the tree.
Oh,
And
that's
it was like-
weird.
because her face is inside the tree.
And like me and
It's in the
Brian
hollow.
were talking about something, and then like as we kind of approach, the conversation just kind of fades off, and we're like,
So I have a very specific like hatred and like queasiness brought on by the idea of no clip in real life. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I get you. So
Like a real glitch in the
life
Matrix.
gives-
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like Amigara Fault's terrifying, right? That's but even worse than that is there's no hole and you're still going in. And like so that idea of like that tree is just a straight tree and
She's just phasing.
I don't like that. Massively uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think what I was scared of is that we were going to see her doing that and be like, that's fucking weird. Walk like 20 more meters and see 4 or 5 people doing it. And then like hundreds of people doing it.
Yeah.
And then we're in the fucking cult.
Yeah.
That's how it starts.
Oh
But,
dear.
yeah, that was a trip.
Nice distraction from you shitting, by the way. Excellent dodge on that. That was
Okay, Woolie, you're new to this podcast, so I'm just going to tell you, I don't dodge shit. I took a shit in the park. I made a call. I did what
Clearly
was
you
best
don't.
for me. I have gotten such praise for being so brave about that.
People emailed in and were like, "Yeah, I get it."
Yeah. It was very disappointing.
But
I feel like that's the reaction is like, you know, everyone's got a shit in themselves story. I can't say
but you
that I
see,
do. but-
And it'll happen.
No.
It happens to the best of us. It'll happen to
It
you.
absolutely
like,
does
it's
not.
happened to me twice at least. But this was an instance where I avoided it. It's like character development, Woolie.
So wait, hold on, Niamh, are we in the no shitting outside club?
Yeah,
Okay, cool,
absolutely.
cool.
This sounds crazy
Dope.
to me. I'm like,
Fan of
what's
that.
with your diet? Like,
Okay, cool. Like, I will say that's a club I really used to enjoy and respect, and then one day reality happened, so both of you look forward to that.
It's like the No Broken Bone Club on Reddit kind of thing. Okay, there's a subreddit dedicated to people who've never broken a bone.
Just
and
really lucky and really careful, or just...
No, everyone who has broken a bone is weak, Brian. Weak
That's-
little brittle bones, no milk babies.
I've never broken a bone. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
No. As a member
Come
of
on
the No Broken Bone Club, we are just like, our bones are thicker.
Okay, I have been completely 180'd, and I now agree. We are the superior. We are the superior
But
beings.
if you break a bone, like people like upload their X-rays, and they're just like, "I'm sorry, guys, I fucked up. I gotta leave." And they're like, "Get out of here, brittle
The
bones."
run's broken.
Yeah.
I just lowering down on calcium too much, man, and this is what happens.
I played American football as a kid. I had no chance to join this club ever.
It's true.
Yeah.
The Pee-wee broken
I think
broken
mine are
bone
just
club.
like rubber. I used to fall out of trees, and like I had a lot of bruised bones and like bruised ass bones specifically, but never any broken ones.
Do you drink your milk?
Oh yeah.
She loves her milk.
There you go.
At one point there was, and yeah,
Oh yeah.
There's a whole other chapter of lore where Niamh is the milk girl.
And she said, "I wanted to be the cool milk friend." Was her reasoning behind
We
it?
did a mukbang
We
for
needed
like
a
a Patreon
thing.
thing ages ago, and Niamh was super committed to drinking chugging like a pint of milk.
Yeah, it was.
No,
And
but you
then-
can't.
And then she got pretty close,
Your
I
body
think.
won't let you.
Well, before she started laughing,
I know, but it's just like I feel like I didn't have a thing. Everyone has a thing,
you needed a thing.
and like
Okay,
I was just like,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
I got to milk.
I mean, it's kind of like the cinnamon challenge. It's like everyone takes it, but your body just doesn't want to.
No, the body shouldn't take that much cinnamon on at once.
Same result.
Yeah. Then
Was it
afterwards,
at least? Wait, I have more questions.
okay, yep.
Was it at least? Was it under a tree? Was it in a brush? Was it on the path?
An alcove.
Yeah, it was a little alcove I went into. I don't want to go into too much detail because
That's
I
fine.
did tell this like
Oh
two or
no!
three.
Do you know what? Okay.
No, I just want
Okay,
surface.
you know what? Look, you know what? You don't want to hear this shit again, then just fucking fast forward. We're not going to
no,
give you a
no,
timestamp.
I don't need the whole story.
I'd really like to tell you my perspective, because there was one day I was going to town to run some errands, and I bumped into John, and he took me 10 minutes out of my way to show me where he took the shit.
Okay, your selection process on the
Okay.
area at the very least.
That's how we'll do it. Brian and then me will tell you our perspective of
Okay,
John's story.
okay, that's the fresh take. All right.
Okay, I'm just gonna say I'm a little reluctant to get Niamh's because she didn't have a perspective. I never showed her. I would, but
Okay, so about 10 minutes after he took the shit, he was the first one to tell me. He told me before Michelle for some reason. And he told me like he knew how he was gonna, like he told it to me like a YouTube video, like he had it broken down, and like I could read it in his YouTube voice, like this happened.
oh, I'm going back and forth. Like there's not much more anime to talk about,
It was very
me tell
eloquent the way he described
About the time
yeah.
my bowels failed me.
It was absolutely that. Like there was a lot of weighty pauses to this story, and I was like, okay, but you're feeling okay now, like, and you described that you looked at your reflection, and it wasn't the same person anymore, but he was paler because
he was paler, and like a little lighter.
yeah. And then a couple of days after, when we all went for drinks, and you still had the food poisoning, and you were very shook.
Yeah.
But that's when I took the photo of you beside the tiny bicycle. So there's some context for that, Niamh.
Oh, you're gonna tell how? Okay, yep.
So same where Brian's story picks off, where like it leaves off where we're going for drinks together. This is my first time going for food since all of COVID happened. It's been exactly 2 years of being inside, and I have not done anything with my friends. I haven't done anything in just gone to a restaurant, and it was this slice of normality. And I remember like dressing up with my girlfriend, and we were doing a little bit of matching, and we looked really cute, and we walked in the sun, and we met Bryan and his partner and John and his partner, and we were walking in the sun, and I was just like, I'm so happy that I'm here and that we're all together. And John comes up to me as we're going to cross the road, and he goes, Niamh, I shit in the park. And I was just like,
Oh, hey, John.
I was like, what? And he was just like,
Niamh,
I need to tell you something. I shit in the park. And I was like, do you, and in my head, I'm like, do you have to?
Niamh, okay, first of all,
Do you have to tell me?
He's real proud of what he makes.
No, there is a little bit of horseshit happening here. Niamh, you laughed so fucking hard. You can say
funny.
You can say whatever you
That
want,
was like
but you laughed.
the outside of my body had to expel a noise, and it went to laughter, but the inside of my body went, what the
Well, the inside of his body actually. Okay, was there a thought or an attempt towards
Not shitting in a park.
No.
Okay.
Post-release
that weird
cleanliness.
Yeah.
Was there an attempt to salvage?
I don't want to go too in detail here, okay? But like Woolie, you have to understand, I was fighting this off for maybe like an hour and 10 minutes, okay?
Are you about to say that the force that you came out with meant you didn't have to?
You see, Woolie, it was like...
He had to lie down in the grass, from what I remember.
Like, Woolie, there were several moments where, like, I was trying to get home, and I had to lie down because my body was so shaky and sweaty, and I had to let the pressure just kind of calm down.
Wow.
That is the just the kinetic energy that was building.
Woolie, I'm reading here, one line of the passage is, my ass was throbbing.
Okay.
And so, you have to understand, this was not, like, your everyday level of pressure and force.
Yes.
Okay. There was immense power to this.
Okay, and thus it actually ends up being cleaner because of how quickly it is leaving.
Okay,
the body.
Here's what I'll tell you. It's cleaner than shitting yourself.
Okay, well, there's that.
And
that's true.
That's everyone who judges me on this. Everyone who's like, John, that's so fucking weird. What would you have done? What would you have done? Like, lay out your foot. I'm not talking to any of you guys here because I think you all secretly understand. But to you, who's like, I can't believe John did that. What would you fucking do, buddy? Like, lay out your fucking genius blueprint plan to get yourself out of this situation. I know what my body can handle. I had food poisoning. I was cursed. I was in a bad situation and I made the best of it. And I challenge any of you to say you would have done any differently. And if you think you would, if you genuinely think you had a way out of this that I didn't see, then I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I hope you fucking shit yourself.
This is a video game podcast?
Yeah, welcome everyone.
Yeah, welcome Woolie to Let's Fight a Boss.
Well, glad to be here.
Yeah.
Glad to,
It's a real normal time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking that I would have had any other options in the circumstances described. I don't even know the story. I'm just saying, I'm finding out that John shit himself or shit in a park, and I'm gonna fucking enjoy that.
Well, no, they're both true. I have also shit myself, but that was not this time.
Okay.
You can't hide from your demons, Woolie.
It's
like Babadook 2.
Yeah.
But you can find a spot to release them.
Well, when it's just away from people enough, and like you look left and right, and
damn, wow, okay.
Is that good wine?
It's good wine. I mean, it's delicious now. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm gaining power.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful. All right.
We also talk about media on this podcast.
Do we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Niamh, I have heard a lot of very different things, very strong opinions about Annette, and how'd you get on with that?
Okay, I went to Annette with our mutual friend Steph because she loves Adam Driver. So the way I was going into this was like, is Adam Driver hot? That's all I needed to happen in this movie. And I came out of this being like, this is one of my new favorite movies of all time.
Whoa.
It is
that's real special.
Crazy. Like, it is a musical drama that at multiple times I went, this is the most romantic thing I've ever seen, to being like, oh, this is a psychological horror.
Wow.
It dances between like genre so deftly that I was just like, wow, beautiful, I believe in love, to, oh my god, this is fucked. Like, it is just really intense in its emotions. And so it is Adam Driver and... Let me get up her name because I actually don't know her.
Yeah, I haven't heard of this, actually.
She's in Inception, isn't she? She's Don Copp's wife, whose name I can't remember. French woman.
Yes.
I'm going to find out her name. I'm sorry, this is what I'm like.
Bryan will do it.
Okay.
But it's a musical film. And it starts off with a scene where it's just Adam Driver and this girl and a whole pile of other actors and all the director and the production crew, and they're just telling you that you're going to watch a movie. They're like, it's about to begin. Marion Cotillard?
Yes.
And they're just telling you, we're going to put on a play for you now in the movie as part of the movie. So it's an extremely self-aware theater production in a film. And Adam Driver has short hair in this, or shorter hair, and he puts on a long-haired wig and a motorcycle helmet, and the show starts. And it is about a extremely edgy comedian, and he calls himself the Ape of God, and it's Adam Driver, and he's topless and in his underwear, and he wears a robe, and he like does his boxing beforehand, and he gets jazzed up, and his whole vibe is he goes on stage and he just says edgy shit. And he falls in love with an opera singer, and she is the most beautiful, talented opera singer every night, and they are in love. But that's only part of the story, because the real story happens after their romance, and they have a baby together. And I'm going to put spoilers right here, because I'm going to give some light spoilers, but I went into this not knowing anything about this baby, and it was the best experience of my entire life. So this baby is played by a fake plastic doll at the start, like one of those like real dolls, and you can see the actress moving the head when she's like after giving birth to it. And I was just like, do they just not want to use a baby? But later on we see the baby as a toddler. It's a wooden puppet, and it's just this constant puppet. It's just this piece of puppetry, and everyone's acting like it's this real baby. And this baby can sing, and this baby has a beautiful voice. And Adam Driver's character, who used to be this comedian, but then kind of has a fall of grace and a fall of popularity due to multiple different circumstances, but that all kind of feed into the current zeitgeist, so you can imagine what they are. He's like, I'm gonna milk this baby for everything she's got.
Is the baby called Annette?
The baby's called Baby Annette, and Baby Annette can sing, and they bring Baby Annette all over the fucking world.
Oh, so it's like Pinocchio, that bit in Pinocchio where he sings, I got no strings, yeah.
They literally drone airlift Baby Annette into the Super Bowl to sing.
Hell yeah.
And she's going to perform, and she's not singing, because she's decided she's not going to sing anymore, kind of thing. Like, serious spoilers. But, like, your guy in the booth is just like, guys, she's a little nervous. After all, she is a baby. And then he covers the mic and he's like, that little bitch better start singing. So it's like this comment on like fame, and like how like fame for children is abuse. And it's wrapped up in this extremely romantic and like horrific story. And it's all sang. It's all a complete musical. And it's like one of those things where you like watch a movie, and this may be just me be me, but every time I watch a movie, I'd be like, this would be so cool if it was a musical. But I don't know how that would work. This is that movie where every scene is sung. And Adam Driver is this really imposing guy where he cannot deal with his fame waning. So he gets like really possessive and angry. And he does this thing where he just acts like barely concealed rage and tension under the surface. So there's this other guy in it, and he keeps like body checking him and like moving in front of him. And at the start, it starts off as being really funny, but it keeps getting more intense. And you're just like, you're kind of anticipating this like extreme violence. And that's after like him like cradling a wooden puppet. It's just like a real juxtaposition of like feeling at all times. And I loved it. I was watching this being like, this is the fucking craziest shit I've ever seen. In my head, I was like, this is like David Lynch. This is like everything.
Okay.
Silly question, but can Adam Driver sing?
Not really.
I didn't know if he could, yeah.
But he doesn't need to, because his character is someone who can't sing, because his partner is this opera singer. So she takes a lot of the like more commanding roles, and her voice is beautiful.
She was in La Vie en Rose, stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
okay.
she's very talented.
She's like a proper like singer and she like carries a lot of it, but like his singing is someone who can hold a note, so it's not bad or anything.
Okay.
But it's like the singing of someone who is like, that's not their profession kind of thing.
Well, so every once in a while, like in Hollywood, like there'll be, you know, an actor who like doesn't sing, but they learn enough to learn how to hold a note.
Yeah.
And it's about that level. Right?
Yeah, it's about that level, and it
Okay.
kind of feels like it should be, because he's just like, what does she see in me? She's this beautiful person with this beautiful voice. And that's kind of like, people's singing abilities are built into it narratively. Like, she's always the best kind of thing, and he's like a bit of the worst kind of. But it's just like, it's like seeing theater in the cinema. Like, it's so pared back, but also so fully, like, they even say at the start, like, this was expensive, but we didn't even get it to be as expensive as we wanted it to be.
Was the framing device of like having them introduce it in that way like used in anything?
Not really. It just has that introduction, and then it kind of doesn't do it again. But I guess it primes you as an audience to be like, this is a performance. Like,
so it'll be absurd, I guess.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you're kind of maybe ready for Baby Annette being a wooden puppet at all times, and like you're willing to go along with that, because it's like, this is purely performance, and like it has primed that kind of part of you. But like, I don't know, I went into this like knowing very little and just was like, holy shit, like by the end of it.
7-minute ovation at Cannes or something. Like, there's some crazy fucking.
It went on for so long that Adam Driver lit and started smoking a cigarette in the middle of it. Yeah, he was just like, and then the camera pans around and he's like, oh shit.
But then I've heard
Like,
other people be like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. But that's kind of like, those are my favorite. That is my favorite spectrum of stuff, where some people are like, fuck this, and other people are like, this is the best thing ever.
Extremely polarizing.
Yeah. So you're gonna,
because it really pushes people's emotions, good or bad.
The deadly
you'll have an
premonition
opinion
Metacritic.
on it either way. Like, you'll either fucking hate it or love it. Like, it's not something that's boring. It's too interesting to be boring. You know?
Who's it directed by?
Ooh, I don't know his
So
name at all.
he's a French director. It's his first like Hollywood.
Oh, for the first thing. Okay.
Yeah, he's done a lot of French films. I'll get up his name as well.
Because it just like, that's the kind of thing where like, that sounds so unique that it makes me wonder if it's like, is there a style that I've seen before that, you know, comes from or so. But if it's
This is a very French name, Woolie. I think you might do the best at pronouncing this one.
Leo Cara,
That sounds about right.
perhaps. Yeah.
That's a Frenchman.
Okay.
There's a, like, this is so specific to me, so I know no one. I like bananas in media. I think I like the semiotics of fruit.
You have a famous banana thread on Twitter
Yeah.
that is still being updated.
Bananas and video games. A
So,
thread
like-
by Niamh.
So like, there's like, when you think of like fruit semiotically and stuff, like apples are always used, and I always think of this moment in Mindhunter where the detective walks into a room and it's before he's gonna meet like the serial killer like, and he sees this apple. And always in my head, I'm like, wouldn't it be so funny if that was a banana? Like,
Just
like,
changing the tone. It's
yeah,
fruit.
because like apples like are saying something, like
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's this grasp at knowledge, but it's like, you know, forbidden fruit. Like,
you're going biblical every time.
yeah, like you think of Niamh and the brothers eating the apple across the table with each other. Like, it's always a red apple. It is the most semiotically used fruit.
I mean, I'm picturing Light Yagami now, like tossing a banana in the air for you because you're having it.
yeah.
And it's
One goal.
It changes the tone of
It's just not a
everything.
serious fruit.
Yeah,
Niamh,
it's too
I
fun.
think the evolution of
It's a
your
silly
thread
fruit.
has to be you photoshopping bananas into video games.
That's
It's
where
just
it
like,
ends.
it has to happen, but like in this, they used a banana semiotically. She, the main female character, has an apple, and like that's her fruit. A character of Adam Driver, who his comedian is called the Ape of God, he eats a banana while smoking, and later on puts a banana out as a cigarette. Like, he stubs the banana
Oh,
out.
wow.
And I've never seen a banana used like semiotically as like this fruit
okay.
before, and I was just like, this movie is speaking to me. It's like, the banana. And like, again, yeah, I know going into that people won't care about it, but I loved the banana action in this movie. Thought it was very good.
Niamh, that sounds like some high cinema.
The highest
I
concept
also
cinema.
watched some high cinema. I watched the movie Cruel Intentions.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
love
Niamh,
this
when's the
film.
last time you watched this movie?
Oh god, I'd say I was 16.
Bryan?
2 years ago.
Woolie?
I don't even remember.
Okay. Yeah. I remember watching this movie as a teenager and it blowing my fucking mind. First of all, just mean dark-haired Sarah Michelle Gellar. Like, that was a whole thing.
She's so bold in that film.
She's so bold in that movie. But then the second part was like, this is like a real like adult movie. Like I can't like this is some real edgy shit. Like I don't know if I should be watching this. And going back to that film now, wow, that is a goofy movie.
It's some campy fun.
It is so stupid and campy, and there's like stuff you could say about it. I think like it's like a very mean-spirited movie. Like it's kind of a horrible movie in a lot of ways, but then like that's also kind of the point. But then just parts of it are so, they have just aged so poorly. And like just there's one part where a girl describes having an orgasm, and it really made me want to claw my own eyes out. It was that level of just like, oh no, like this.
Why?
You can't say on the podcast? Wow.
No, it's not that I can't say on the podcast. I think as we have proven, I will say anything on this podcast. It was like a children's cartoon describing what an orgasm felt like, and it was just very, and like that was kind of the intention of the scene, but it was nearly too much of that like nearly awkward cringe, where it's like it really felt like something twisting inside of you, and like, you know the way you watch a piece of media sometimes, and sometimes like it ages really well, and sometimes you're like, holy shit, there is more in this than I thought when I first saw it. This was not that. This was like, wow, I saw this film at the right time when I was young. This is now a different movie.
It's a real turn of the millennium kind of fun schlock.
Yeah, it's really, really schlocky, and I was expecting it to hold more of that edge, just because it was such a fucking
taken
crazy
seriously
movie when it came out, and there's these two, and they're like,
it's a really handsome film. Like it's got really good set design and
really nice set design.
locations.
Yeah, and like every actor is given it hell.
Yeah,
the main dude in it is the most abominable piece of shit I have ever seen in a piece of media.
Sebastian,
played
by Ryan Felipe.
Yeah,
okay.
Who played a very weird dad in Wish Upon.
Really,
he's not doing. He's not in movies anymore.
In this, he plays like the weirdest, floppiest sexual predator I have seen in any media for a long time, and he's really cartoonish as well. Like he's really weird, and yeah,
because I know him and the guy from American Beauty with the camcorder were kind of these like attractive outsider guy tropes.
He is super beautiful. Like that's a good looking dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a real trip to go back to. And then there's these moments in it though, where it's like, for as schlocky and as shitty as it is in places, it does hit home this kind of story of like this genuinely terrible fucking person who kind of wants to be better because he's met this person he liked and is pulled back from the precipice of that because of his wanting to maintain this shitty reputation. And it's like, through the schlock, there was like, I felt like this honest core about like, especially the way like a lot of guys kind of approach relationships. Because like when I was in secondary school, like there was all these dudes and they were like the most misogynistic, shitty people in the world. But that would become a problem when one of them met a girl they genuinely liked, and all of a sudden like that pack of guys would nearly turn on him unless he turned on the girl. And this did feel like a kind of honest expression of that in a way that was kind of fucking cool, for as much shit as I talk about the rest of the movie, And ultimately, like, it's kind of like you were saying as well, Bryan, like, it is schlocky fun. Like, the way you were saying, like, Annette's not boring. Cruel Intentions is still not boring, and it never will be, but it is wild going back to that movie now.
I do like all the characters, and they're kind of like something out of a Cluedo game. I love Selma Blair's character. She plays the teenager who's learning the cello, that she's kind of like used as a prototype in the first half of the movie.
I think she's the girl who does like the orgasm talk, and I think what made me like just uncomfortable about that is she's so young looking.
Yeah,
she looks like a child.
But that's the thing; they play her up as being really inexperienced.
Yeah. She
and,
really
like,
plays a
childlike.
teenager accurately. It's like she's such a great actress.
And then at one point, Michelle was just like, "A man definitely directed this movie." Like, completely. It was a fun adventure, but. Yeah.
The dangers of going back in time, though, and like updating how you feel about something. You gotta do that.
What's the hardest it's ever 180'd on you?
That's a good question. But I mean, I feel like, we were talking about this a little bit yesterday, but I'm like, there's one that I'm afraid of, because when I first watched it, I love the movie Juno. And I feel like going back to it, I don't know if it would hold up or not, but I don't want to.
It's so contextually different now as well. I couldn't watch that movie.
I hated Juno at the time, but I don't even remember why I hated it. Like, I just remember that strong feeling. I don't know why.
The first 15 minutes of that movie are rough because the dialogue is so... You know that...
Your ego is prego.
Yeah. You know that,
it's the worst.
Diablo Cody.
So in college, me and Bryan made up a movie called The Unicorn Test, which was like a fake indie movie that was real, like... You know, all those stupid...
It felt like watching like a Duplass Brothers movie, like Cyrus or something, where it's real twee and it's got like the shins. It's just at some point someone's
Zach
ever like... Braff loves this movie.
Yeah, at some point someone's like, have you ever heard of this band? And that's the story of the movie.
So you mean... I didn't have to watch it twice for the 180 to happen. I just had to think about it. But Garden State.
Yeah.
Right?
People want to on that movie so hard.
Garden State retrospect is so bad.
I didn't have to watch it. I just knew. I just got, at some point, I just thought about it and went, oh, man.
Is that your man Topher Grace in that movie?
Not Zach.
No, Zach Braff.
Yeah,
Zach Braff.
Yeah, he's braffing it up to the max.
I think Topher Grace at one point did a Garden State, but the two films are completely indistinguishable.
But, you say the shins, it's like, that soundtrack, because that's what I was
and like they put on the iPod headphones and then the camera.
And you just... I know that's going to 180. I don't even have to pop it in to find out.
So for me, I love Jackass. Niamh love Jackass and CKY as well. I don't know if I could go back and watch CKY. It's incredibly... Like, the stuff those guys... The words they use to call each other in terms of, mean words. Mm-hmm. It's real 16-year-old boy bullshit. And it's of its era, and that's where it belongs.
Yeah. And
a bunch of the Ryan Dunn isn't alive anymore. Bam Margera isn't in a good place anymore. All of those guys that are falling out. It's just like, that's a time capsule within itself. I think if I went back, I'd have to go back in time myself. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I could watch it as an adult.
Bryan primed me. We watched it together, but he was just like basically, I'm taking you back in time. So we watched the MTV Cribs of Jackass before we watched the movie
from 2003, 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Okay.
So it was just like, I'm getting you in the headspace of just like 90s, early 2000s shit. Like, and yeah. It was an experience. There was so much human poo in that movie.
Yeah, the volcano train. You know what one of the hardest 180s was? As just like, I love GTO, and I wanted to show that to Punch Mom. And I got it, and we popped in disc 1, and we watched the intro, and amazing intro, amazing, just everything's great, and like that first episode right away, it's like
brings that teenage girl right back to his apartment.
Intro of the like first episode, it's like they're chilling under the stairs. He's gonna become the intern teacher, and they're staring at the panties of the 16-year-old girls walking up the thing, and you're like, oh my god, no, you can't. Mm-hmm. The time has passed.
Yep.
And she's like, what? I was like, okay, no, you gotta give it and it's like, no, it's just, that's what it was.
It's really exposing, who you were.
Yeah, it's just like, those were your blind spots, right? Like, I mean, I spent a bunch of time this week going through old footage of the Attitude Era, and Jesus Christ, it is so much worse than anything you think.
No, John, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. It was so very good.
No, Bryan, like, hateful is the word. Like, I remind you that one of the villain factions were a group of black nationalists, and that was that was the entire thing that was wrong with them, And, like, there was one point where they were feuding with DX, and DX were a bunch of scamps. So, like, what is the worst thing DX could do? What is the worst thing DX could do to this group of black nationalists? That is what I watched footage of this week and was like, Triple H, no!
Holy shit.
And just what if we take everything you fear, take the name of a real organization, and switch it to domination? Mm-hmm. That's what they want to do to us.
And then you kind of start extrapolating it, and you're like, wait a minute, Vince, when was your first Black World Champion? It's just like,
Who are
2
you
years ago.
What are you doing, Vince?
Yeah, you know, sometimes we just didn't know what was happening, and context makes us better.
It's a real Carney show.
Yo, I'm like, you say Attitude Era, but it's like, God bless the New Day for like taking that whole thing and just swerving that gimmick on its head.
And while we're at it, congrats to Big E. He became WWE Champion Monday Night on Raw, and fucking that guy rules. You could not put it on a better person, and he's genuinely awesome. He does all these great like social stuff, and he's fucking hilarious as well. So that was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Maybe wrestling will be okay.
Yeah. It seems like it's teetering on a cliff's edge at the moment.
Don't. I'm guessing we're going to meander a lot this podcast, so I'm going to save my rant on where wrestling might be going.
Okay.
If it lands in a THQ AEW game's hands, I'm all on board for that.
Looks like that's where we're headed.
I'm down with that.
Mm-hmm. They got use, and I hope good use. Bryan,
Yes.
you read Ask Iwata.
I read a book called Ask Iwata. This is a Viz translation. This is from Hobonichi, which is Shigesate Itoi's publishing company. He's the creator of Earthbound. He runs a publishing company called Hobonichi. They do daily planners and other bits of stationery. This is the first bit of publishing that they've done outside of Japan, so it's been brought over by Viz, and it is a collection of Satoru Iwata, the former president of Nintendo, his thoughts on being who he is and how he got to where he did, and his business philosophies. And it's a fun read. I'm about 2/3 of the way through it, and it's nice, but like, I was kind of hoping for some goss. Like, sometimes they'll mention a case study and you're like, oh yeah, tell me what fucking went down there. No, they won't. Because, like, this is Nintendo and they edit themselves to the max.
This is a very Nintendo man talking about another very Nintendo man.
Yes. There are some bits. Like, okay, so there's a great bit where Shigesato Itoi is talking about the development of Mother 2 Earthbound on the Super Nintendo, or the Super Famicom at the time. And that game took 5 years to develop. The first 4 years of that game were in development hell. It was behind schedule, and they didn't even have a build of the game. And at the time, Iwata was the president of HAL Laboratory, which is the studio that made Kirby. And he was just about turning around that company from a huge debt that they had to pay off over 6 years at the beginning of the 90s. And they brought him in because he was a problem solver. And because his background was the company president, but also head programmer, because he did 2 jobs apparently, he came in and he looked at the build of Earthbound. And he said, okay, we could spend 2 more years making this game, or we could start from scratch and have it built in 6 months. And so they went and started from scratch. But what they did was they didn't get rid of any of the assets from the game. They hung on to all the assets, all the music, all of that stuff. They just rebuilt the foundations of the game and then attached everything back together from there. And it was kind of interesting the way Iwata talks about the game and the way his role is, because he's a president and that's an invisible job at the very top of the company. That role isn't meant to have any particular kind of aspect of it.
You're not getting your hands dirty.
No, you're not. But the way he talked about the feedback from Earthbound was that people loved individual parts of that game, and that's because of those first 4 years of the game. It was only him at the end problem solving stuff and getting everyone in the right headspace and making a successful project at the end that put it all together. So that was a really interesting part.
Like, when you play Earthbound now, like I still love Earthbound. It is kind of a mess. Yeah. Like, it's kind of a bunch of gobbledygook in a lot of ways.
It's a scrappy game.
Yeah, and it's fucking great, but
yeah.
I mean, he's a saint for just what he had to put up with in terms of answering investors' questions.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, that on its own is like, Iwata's the GOAT. Like, I can't believe he had to deal with that. And he just, with the most patience in the world.
Microtransactions to make Mario jump higher.
One of my kids like, why can't you put the games on phone? My kids are playing on the phone. what are we doing here, Nintendo? You know, just investors
and just
coming
really
in.
sticking to the philosophy of the company. But like, it's really like very little of it is about his personal life. It's just kind of his guidance, and that like it like and it's more just like a collection of statements, and then there'll be examples, and that's where the statements kind of make sense. But a lot of it is just fluff. Like it is Nintendo singing its own praises while kind of being vague. And a lot of the like really interesting parts are like particular quotes I'll recognize from like YouTube videos that I've seen over the last 5 years, because like this is like a go-to book for anyone who's into like like game history and stuff like that, I guess. But at the same time, it is kind of interesting. But like, it's very. I like it. This book is not a Jason Schreier book, is how I would describe it.
You wanted the dirt, and this is clean.
No, this is Nintendo publishing, or this is Nintendo doing an edit of their own work.
Are you listening to this, or are you reading a physical?
I'm reading it. I've got the book right there on the bookshelf.
Is it a nice looking book, just in general?
It's nice, but the thing is, the text is very large, and the margins are very thick. Like, this is a 150-page book, but this is like a 100-page book, like spread out.
Okay.
Like it's baby's first book, which is great because I've not actually physically read a book in a while because I switched to audiobooks for the last couple of years.
We all have.
Yeah, I think we all. Yeah. So it is nice to read a book and like feeling the texture of it on your thumbs, and you're like, you know how you read a book and you're like, my hands are getting dry. Why? And you realize
I find it super relaxing. I can't read books because I just fall asleep because it makes me.
It's comfy. It's like a little cushion. Yeah. But yeah, it's very different to reading it on a tablet, I guess. And it's got some lovely artwork. It's got a cute drawing of Iwata done by Satoshi or Shigesato. And like it's very well presented, but it's a coffee table book.
Okay.
I always hate picking up a autobiography and it just being fluff. Like, I really wanted the Juliana Margulies one. She's from The Good Wife, and there's a lot of drama in that.
In the last few seasons, yeah.
So I was just like, give me the dirt. No dirt. She kept that thing squeaky clean.
That shit's redacted.
And that's just like extremely boring because no one is picking up your book for a squeaky clean story.
It's like, where's the dirt on Kirby?
Yeah.
You know, it's out there.
The few bits they have on Kirby was that like they've not mentioned Sakurai at all, but they mentioned Kirby, and he was the president at the time of Kirby, and that when they had the game nearly complete, it was still called Popopo, and that's when they had the shipping orders for Popopo, and it had like about 25,000 copies ready for pre-order, and then Miyamoto took a look at the build of the game and went, you could make this look better because this is a special game for the Game Boy, and we could probably take it from there. So then they had to like redo the branding and all that and call it Kirby. Delayed the game. They lost a bunch of money on the pre-orders, but it worked out in the end because they made it like 5 million pre-orders on Kirby. So it was definitely worth it.
Cool. And just like I think the other stories are Kirby Jr., the announcement of that game, and like it was supposed to come out. And it was just this weird looking Kirby's son kind of character. Horrible, like, just not cute, just weird. Where they, like, you made him like a triangle face and they put a hat on him sideways, and thank God the thing got cancelled, you know? But
yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't been consuming a lot of media because you've been traveling.
I have been traveling. I mean, I did consume a media. In the process of recently getting married and then doing this honeymoon thing, I was able to watch Jojo Rabbit, which is the Taika Waititi, like, Nazi movie that is light
That's
and
a specific
colorful.
Phrasing, but yeah.
In just, like, it was so good, and I mean... Araki jokes aside, going in, or it's like, oh, where's the stand going to be? It's like, no, the stand is right there. It's Hitler. He's literally this boy stand, I don't know if you've seen it.
I'm very fond of that movie.
Incredible. I basically, I was talking to Punch Mom about it, and I was just like, I can't believe I'm looking at Nazi Germany through the lens of this child, which turns it into like a Wes Anderson feeling setting. Just bright colors and, summer camp adventures,
But then, like, when the film wants to hit you. Yeah. Like, I don't want to say too much, people haven't seen it, but the scene where the feet just float into shot, fuck,
that's
that got me.
and they know he's fucking. I mean, What We Do in the Shadows, like, just, he's hilarious when he wants to be, when he wants to drive a point home.
The third season of that just started, and it's really, really fucking good.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the movie, I love the TV show. So just, like, exactly, like what he works on in it, like Thor Ragnarok and stuff, it's just like, he's, like, I trust his work, and, like, when he's like, you know what, I'm gonna play Hitler. I was like, okay, and... Also, I'm not going to do any research because fuck that guy. That's the best way to do.
Yeah.
Just play a caricature of the guy.
I'm going to do whatever I want. Fuck him. You're like, okay. And it works perfectly.
In the lead up to that movie, I really wanted to tweet out the just press photo of him of Hitler and just be like, hey guys, bad news. Just found this photo of Taika Waititi. But then I was like, you know what? I think I want a peaceful evening. I'm not gonna.
Some person wouldn't get that.
Yeah. Oh, hundreds of people wouldn't get it. Like one way or the other.
No. The dude's a Polynesian Jew. Like that's how he describes himself.
Like, do you really want to wake up and choose violence today, John?
Sometimes.
But yeah, like, and just some of those little things where. Again, I don't want to spoil too much or anything, but like the bits of like Hitler just asking for just a little Sieg Heil, just a little bit kick, just come on, just hit me one more time, It's really, really incredible. I feel as if again to the innocence of Jojo and like his little best friend who reminded me of like a child version of God, this is awful, but Edgar Wright's like partner in
Nick Frost.
Nick Frost, exactly.
Yeah.
He's just a child Nick Frost
kind
of energy.
He is. Yeah, he's very bombastic.
Yeah. I just like from top to bottom, it was just incredible. The soundtrack, I loved it, and like you said, like when he wants to hit you hard, he'll hit you hard, but you're still like you're kind of laughing at the absurdity of how it's going down. Like, like there's those moments, and then there's moments of like, this is so fucked, but it's also it's so dark and hilarious, The only thing I have to say is I feel like, I don't know, once again, ScarJo just kind of shows up and didn't have to be there, didn't try too hard.
Oh, I thought she was good. I love the scene between when she dances with the kid. And
that's very charming.
Yeah.
It was charming. But I guess I just kind of felt, and you know what? Admittedly, maybe they kind of went like, "Hey, don't sweat the accents too hard,"
Sure, yeah.
But I feel like even if he said that, like everyone still did their best, and it came across quite well. But I feel like with her, at least, it felt like she really didn't try. Or
Scarlett Johansson's one of these actresses to me where she never disappears into the role. I'm always watching Scarlett Johansson for some reason.
Yeah.
Like
she's
never
the highest
fully
paid Hollywood
disappears.
actress, and
Exactly.
she knows it.
Yeah.
Yes,
She's always on top of her brand before the film. I feel. Did you watch Black Widow?
not yet. No,
Don't.
Okay,
Do not.
okay.
It's just don't.
I mean, I just feel like that she's a green lighting machine. She appears and she lets the movie
She's
happen.
on the list that brings movies into existence.
Exactly. There's that's a short list. I think it's like 30 or so. That like if you're not recreating or rebooting an IP, if you want something original, you got to bring in one of these, and she's top of that. And
Yeah, she's attached to the script. It'll get made.
exactly. Wow, Ghost in the Shell. So that's my only.
Every year we get further away from that, the worse and worse it all looks.
I mean, at this point, I feel like the running gag is just like any adaptation of anything starring Scarlett Johansson, But
Major Kutsaragi.
but yeah, that's my only thing is like I just kind of feel that like she didn't quite bring it, to the level that the others were. But otherwise, like impeccable. It's a fantastic movie.
I gotta ask, Woolie, how are you enjoying Ireland so far?
Yeah, I'm in Dublin. That's a thing.
Yeah, this is Woolie's. Like, if you're listening to this, Woolie's sitting beside us.
Yeah, like this is real. He came on an airplane. It's real. He real. He here.
I real. It's not a Discord call, and I mean, it's just kind of incredible after like I saw after the lockdown times and the feeling of just infinite like isolation to be seeing people and like just kind of enjoying a setting and being outside this much and kind of just like breathing and Yeah, it's very surreal. But no, right now I'm just in a completely different headspace because I've also been, you know, not in a like content creation work mode. Like, it's the first thing I've done in about like almost like the entire month, really. You know?
And you have videos and stuff dropped like every day.
Every day too.
Yeah, you're very prolific.
It's out there on a regular basis. So this is like, you know, the longest I've been without doing anything in a minute, and it's weird because you feel almost like content, like blue balls building up. Like, you have to, you know what I mean? Like, you build up, you're like, I have things to say and there's no mic. And then
like, I said this to you yesterday, but when we went on hiatus, the amount of like opinions that just logged in me, and like I just kept talking to Michelle about stuff and be like, you know, the thing about the deep nest in Hollow Knight, and like, she doesn't fucking care, you know.
Same here. Like, you know, I can say wife, my wife has to put up with it.
Punch wife.
Yeah, punch wife, exactly. And we are, but like, you know, I think like after like that first week or so, it just kind of falls in by the wayside, and you're just enjoying the sights and sounds and settings, you know what I mean? Like, well, prior to landing here, you know, I was in Iceland and did the full tour. I you know, we landed, we saw what I described as Namek, you know, like you right by Reykjavik, you got your moss with on top of lava rocks, no other life anywhere to be found. It's an alien planet. There's blue water that's not just blue, it's like creepy, sort of freezy blue, popsicle blue, you know. Did that, and then like, just got in a car, and the two of us just drove around the entire thing, and we saw the mountains, we saw the glaciers, we saw the, you know, like we went out on we had like at one point we got on the water and we're on like a tour boat that just checks out the side of a glacier, and you look at like a wall of ice that is, you're looking at 1,000 years in it, because like as each piece breaks off, it reveals like layers of every time a volcano erupts, you see a line of black ash to represent when that happened, and then all the ice above it is, and then time continued, and then the next one, you know. It's super cool and interesting. Also horrifying because they're like, so by the way, of course, this entire lake we're on is only here because of global warming, and you know, and the ice will continue to fall off at a rate that is changing its shape like every couple of months. And, you know, it's sliding and melting and moving forward at a rate of like 30 centimeters per day, but it's also receding by, I think, like 100 meters per year. So the whole thing is just, hey, if you need, the proof is, it's there. It's right there. You don't need to think too hard about it. That's a big ice that's not going to be there anymore.
Or is it?
No, John, no.
I'm just asking some questions.
There are houses on the west of Ireland, and I've been there with my dad.
#stop the steal.
I've been there with my dad, and my dad's like, okay, these houses used to be like way out in the coastline, and now they're just like,
where's the curve?
Wally the Walrus, John, and why is he here? Why is he in this country?
Yeah. There's a walrus who's like, he's fucking fed up with it.
He's lost. He lives in Ireland now.
Oh, this is not a place for walruses.
Yeah, no.
Because he kept using speedboats as couches, so they had to make a pontoon-shaped couch, and now he's chilling on that. Mm-hmm. And people keep going up trying to take photos, and it's like, you're not in control of that situation. It's a walrus.
Yeah,
they're underwater bulls.
Yeah, walruses are fucked up.
God.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that episode of Wolf's Rain, where the walrus kicked the shit out of the wolves? It was terrifying.
Oh god, that show was amazing. Stray! Yeah. No, dude, you're staring at the glaciers melting, and it's just, you hear the voice in your head. There's just one problem, Ben. They'll sell their houses to who? You know? Yeah. But it was magical despite that reminder. And then you pull up to, you know, there's some like rock wall formations that it looks like a natural wall Maria or wall rose, you know, like an Attack on Titan wall just created out of stone, and you know, you're taking that in its majesty, and then there's these beaches where the sand is black, the water is black, and there's ice swashing in, and it's just beautiful, you know what I mean? I've never seen anything like it. Like Punch Mom has called me a beach snob because, you know, I grew up in the islands, so I've enjoyed some nice beaches. And then in Canada, they're like, oh, we got some beaches, and it's mud next to mud and some dirt water, and it's like, it's not a fucking beach.
No, it's not.
You know? But here I'm like, at least this is like, it's a metal ass beach that's just like, no, we're different, and it's really beautiful. And then we as well, we're seeing like warning signs for like, basically it's like, it's pretty, but don't approach the water, because this side of Iceland has no bodies of land between there and the North Pole, and it's all the water coming straight from the top of the earth to this beach at full speed. So if you turn around and you're not looking, what they call a sneaker wave will just grab you.
That's fucking crazy.
And you're gone.
Yeah.
You know?
With stuff like that, it always blows my mind, like, of how little you really know about any natural thing at all. Like, I've never heard of that. And then you hear that, and it's like, wow, that could just kill you dead in a second.
Yep. We were like, oh, let's go see this pretty beach and take some photos. And then, like, as you're walking up, there's a sign that says, like, warning, enjoy the beach at your own risk. Warning, don't turn your back to the water. Warning, here's a sign of the last person who didn't read these warnings. He's dead now. That was 3 years ago. And before that, another lady from a few years prior, you know?
Shit.
And you're like, okay, this is a dead-ass serious sign. Like, don't turn your back to the water, you know? And yeah, and sure enough, it really was. Like, it's like, no, that water's coming in at, like, torpedo speed, you know? But yeah, amazing, you know, enjoyed that. And just other little things. It was pretty. What is there to say? On the way driving out, we saw an active volcano mid-eruption, just casually in the background. You know, almost like that stage in Street Fighter 4. Just like, it's like, oh yeah, that's right over there. And we're like, okay, that's fine. No worries there. That's supposed to happen. And then we flew out.
And now you're here.
And now we're here.
It's been really interesting having Woolie here, because, like, he's pointed to several things, and he'll be like, what's the deal with this? And I'll be like, I've never thought about
What,
it.
like Sentra?
So, okay, so, okay, here's the kind of
What's
thing,
a
right?
Eurospar?
Yeah.
We were walking across the road, and it was an orange man,
Yeah.
and Woolie points at it and just goes, what is that?
You gotta move
It
fast.
Yeah.
Move
gotta
fast,
run.
move fast, or don't move at all.
Yeah.
Time is almost up. Depends on like if you're carrying stuff, maybe wait. If you're free, zoom.
Yeah.
It's been very surreal having you here, because whenever we hang out, I'm usually on your territory, or at least closer to your territory.
Right.
But
But now it's your backyard.
now it's my
It's
home
very
field
easy for you
advantage.
to just like abandon him, and he's just stuck in Ireland.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
first thing I said to him was, haha, Woolie, who's the weird foreigner now?
Yeah, no, just stick me on a roundabout and I won't know what to do. Because what the fuck is a roundabout?
But it was mad, because, like, it didn't feel like it was
It's a
that long
JoJo
ago.
ending song.
Now you understand.
Right.
It didn't feel like that long ago that you messaged me, or I can't remember if it was a message or if we were talking or whatever. And, like, my kind of attitude was like, yeah, this is the kind of thing where someone says to you, oh, I'm gonna come over and we'll hang out, and you're like, yeah, and it's never gonna happen. And then, like, this morning we ate pancakes with my parents.
Yeah. I like this. We had a home cooked meal in this like cozy little wholesome house, and it was like, oh man, I needed that. I haven't had that in a while, and it's surreal. And I'm also like staring at pictures of little baby John on the wall.
You know what? We don't need to go into detail here.
So there's this one photo of John. I'm not sure what happened to John during puberty, but like it's a different boy, and I didn't know.
Okay, so there was actually, Woolie did point at a childhood photo of me and was like, who's that?
I know, right?
It's so weird.
So there's this one photo of John, and I was like, why'd you have this photo of this other boy in the spare bedroom? And John was like, that's me. And I was like, oh, I thought it was like a different boy who died or
Why
something.
does he
No.
look different, Brian?
He
Why?
has life in his eyes.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's smiling, but it's not in like a smile for the camera kind of way. Like
In
he's
my
happy.
defense, I had life in my eyes up until the YouTube channel.
I apologize. But no, that's happening, you know, and we also, we went to the like the kind of the downtown area, and we're just it's like so much is happening, like especially in this one day.
We were saying earlier how, like, wow, this really feels like a con where it's like, we're both fucking tired, but we got shit to do and just keep going, but in a good way, where it's like, yeah, we gotta just keep doing this shit.
Chase that feeling.
Chase that
It's
feeling.
great. It's great.
Yeah.
But okay, roundabouts. What the fuck? Everyone is parking halfway up onto the sidewalks, which is very island. Like that's Caribbean as fuck. So I'm like, I've seen that. I know what that's about.
Absolute chancers.
Yeah, you got the orange man. We just kind of have like a walking animation and a number that tells you when to not cross anymore. So it's a lot more direct. But You've also got, and this is like legitimately, I'm impressed by this because it's the bumps on the ground that can tell and help blind people navigate around the city.
They're fantastic.
So the first time I saw those was in Japan, and I was like, "Oh my god, they're amazing!"
Yeah,
and then I saw them in like Iceland and a couple other countries.
Footpath rail.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, this is a thing."
And noise.
Yeah,
The lights.
The beeps are great.
And North America just doesn't fucking give a shit. Like we have none of that. You know,
Needs accessibility.
Yeah, when I was in LA, I was just like, there's just a curb. People will just fall off the curb.
It's such a cruel and unforgiving town.
You know?
Just make it slope, weirdos. Make it slope.
It's like, no,
LA is a city not built for people.
No.
It's for car-shaped monsters.
just like, oh, your dog should save you here, and if it doesn't, too fucking bad.
Yeah.
You know, pay for it when you get to the hospital.
Okay, well,
Anyway,
I'm giving you 3 minutes. Talk about your new passion.
Why is the new passion?
Go ahead.
Woolie, 2 minutes and 58 seconds.
okay, listen, all right. Part of the wedding was a fun day of just various activities. One of them, which was whimsical and fun, was me and Punch Mom decided to go fly a kite.
I've seen this photo. It's
That's
very
cute.
cute.
It was a really cool thing.
Yeah.
You can get cool fucking kites.
You can.
Yeah.
So what happens is I fly the kite and then I fly it and then it's really good and cool. And then I realize, oh shit, I'm into kites.
This is a hobby.
That's a real.
This is something I could spend money on.
Yes, and I immediately did. And I jumped online and I bought a bunch of kites. And so, okay, so check it out, right? There's these things called fighter kites. And it's a thing that happens in like a lot of other countries do this. And you can battle with your kites. You can put a blade on the front and you try to cut the rope,
Holy shit.
right? So it's a fucking sick ass thing you can do with that. And then there's also
It's like Robot Wars, but kites.
exactly, right?
So here's what you do, right? The other guy's like, wow, his kite's flying really low. It's not, doesn't seem to be going for the other kite at all. And you're like, that's right, motherfucker. Straight at them.
Ah, you know, slash. And you can get like there's power kites, which you can use two hands, and like it's kind of like there's trainer kites for like kite surfing, but you can do them on land anyway, and they kind of drag you around a bit if there's a good gust. Also, there's wind apps, right? So when we were doing it, I was like, I need to get back out there. I need the wind is calling me, right?
Good wind.
Yeah, we got it. The kite we got, it's a pizza because why not? Fuck it, that's great. And like, so I'm like, let me go fly the pizza. And then it's like there's an app that's like, okay, so there's wind happening. It's going in this direction. You can figure out the strength. You can figure out all of that. You can hold the mic up to the air and the wind blowing into the mic on your phone. It'll tell you how fast that is.
Wow.
That's some good kite tech.
It's pretty sick. And then also, there's little communities of people that are like, in each area, they'll be like, hey, is there any good wind today? And they'll be like, yeah, it's pretty good. You should come out and have some. Yeah, so there's a little wind chat going on. So there's that happening. And I'm like, yo, I'm into kites. I really want to do this now. So I tried to order a bunch so that I'd have them with me in time to get when I came here. But unfortunately, when we were at the airport, they were delivered to my place. So I didn't get to bring them. I only have two with me instead of the cool ones I wanted to try out. But
Only two kites.
Yeah, but no, I'm dead serious.
At one point today, Woolie kind of said to me, like, you know, I found this shop called Dublin Kite.
Dude, let him go to the kite. He's on holiday.
Yeah.
We have a schedule. There was another point today where
We've really good wind here.
There
We
was,
got the Atlantic.
Great
there was
wind.
another
So
point
windy.
today where he casually tried to drop into a conversation. You know, we in the kiting community.
Get into kiting games. I'm telling you. So no, that's real. I'm dead serious. I've already looked into it. There's a group called the Montreal Kiting Club. They're out there meeting up and going out and kiting, and I'm like, just you wait, boys, I'm coming. You know. So we'll find out where this takes me, but I want to control the wind. I want to fly.
You gotta harness that energy.
Oh, it's great. It's so cool. So that's the passion.
That's the passion.
That's the passion. It's
I'm very
real.
happy for you, Willie.
That's a really healthy hobby. That's
a genuine
what a
passion.
functional
Yeah.
thing to get into.
You're like outdoors. You're genuinely getting air because it's like you need the air. It's kites.
You know, with most hobbies, just like the you can see the precipice at which it destroys your life. I think the precipice for this is pretty far. Like, I think you got a lot of space.
I think you graduate to hot air ballooning.
No.
Like,
I was thinking,
at some stage.
and then you're missing.
Yeah.
You're just
And
gone.
you're like flying over the
you know
Atlantic.
those old like feudal Japanese kites where the ninjas would kind of sail on?
those dudes in Sekiro.
Yeah, no. I mean, honestly, if anything, it's like, okay, don't be near traffic. Don't land the kite and crash it on a car. Don't run downhill into something blind. Be smart about it.
But also, fuck drones. I bet there's some, like, kite community versus the drone community, because we're silent. Why are you guys buzzing? Fuck off.
So get this, right? Because part of what we were doing is, and it's really cool, like with the wedding, we were flying the kite, and then the videographer had a drone.
Okay.
To record, and it was...
Okay, fine, okay.
So we got some cool shit going on. I can't wait to see it. But as it happens, we love wind, we want it, but drones hate wind.
They do, they rattle.
You can't fly in the wind. So we're naturally enemies.
Or get better drones.
Straight up.
Yep.
Old school, get some string, Yeah. So, that's real. I'm going to see where I can take this. I have some ideas for custom designs. There's a lot of weird shapes you can make fly.
I actually know some YouTubers that have, like, the tiny little GoPros attached to kites in no drone areas, because that's a loophole that they can get around.
It's a kite. It's a kite. It's not a drone.
That's a little creepy, but it's inventive.
Yeah.
Because part of me is like, I wonder what the YouTube kiting community is like. And then I was like, I wonder what the drama of the YouTube
There's one guy, he's like,
Welcome to Kiting with Keith. Today, we're going to sample out this 2-string. She's a real beaut. I'm going to crawl out of the basement now, get the kite on.
I want to see a kite YouTuber apology.
oh yeah, and
Like, what happened?
At the end, he's just like, and you know what? I'm really sorry, but still, fuck you, Steven.
just
He lied about the length of the string that he got up in the air,
Your tail was not 6 foot. That was not a true box.
I mean, if fighter kites are like, if we're pushing that, sabotaging someone's kite is...
Oh, yeah.
That is a sin, So, well, anyway, one step at a time. We'll see where this goes. But, I'm in there. Bah. I had one other thing on my mind. There was the roundabouts, there was the kite.
Woolie, there's a certain level of professionalism I like to push on this podcast, and so I'm going to have to ask you to renew get it the fuck together.
Have you had a Guinness?
I have not, but it's like one of my favorite.
We're going tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, Black Velvet is that's my trick. I gotta have one. So yeah, we'll get that done. I hope. You know what? Whatever. There was one other or two other things about here that I was just like confused by, but
It's easily forgettable.
That was another part of it when you were like, I think I'm coming to Ireland. I was like, why? And then, yeah. Now you're here and it's too late.
got a bunch of speed bumps everywhere.
Big into speed bumps.
Just fucking like
great old jokes all together.
they're going too fast. They need to slow down.
just everywhere.
And really, that's kind of the general like feeling that Irish people have for each other.
Yeah.
Just like, hang on there.
Hang on, you're being too successful, and how dare you? I'm jealous.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I got it. That's what it was. Your elevators have one button that sticks out the furthest, and that's always ground floor. Brilliant.
I never picked up on that not being everywhere, but then sometimes I do go to like American cons, and it's like, why? It takes me like a little longer to find ground floor, and that's because they don't have the sticky outy button and the green rim.
You have
That's
to just,
really well considered.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
We don't have that. We just have like it's a button that says like RC, and it means ground floor in French basically, and then like SS is the basement. But you guys have this fucking brilliant sticking out button, and I was just like, that design. Which you didn't notice until...
Never.
It was...
Several times you have pointed stuff out to me. It's like, wow, this thing. And I'm like, yeah, I guess.
Sure.
But,
Yeah.
What's how we do a strategy talk? Okay, so I think maybe at some point... I mentioned how I wanted to play the House of Fata Morgana, or the House in Fata Morgana, and that is a visual novel that I think blew up real big around like 2012, 2013, and it this year got released for Switch, and really, really well-regarded game. I don't know if it still does, but I know for a good period it had a perfect score on Metacritic, like just a straight 100. Wow. But I think like with visual novel stuff, I think you have to be like a little more kind of critical with that stuff, because I think the kind of people who review visual novel games are the kind of people who are super into visual novel games, maybe a little more forgiving of the medium than, I'm just saying. And I'm like about 4 or 5 hours into this game, which is not a lot, and the shoe has started to drop on what this game is But the first thing I'd say about it is you need to be conscious of the fact that literally that is how long it's going to take before you start to see where they're going. This is like a slow crawl. And it starts where like basically you, are in this like fucked up house and you meet, I think a time traveling vampire maid who takes you to the past and begins to tell you the story of this old Victorian family. And there's scenes at the theater and scenes at the local priest gathering, and just like it is kind of dense. But like what I would say about it is like, you know, sometimes with a game you're like, I can't say I'm really enjoying this, but there's something here. You know, I think I said that like 2 or 3 times about Disco Elysium before that game really clicked and I was like, this is one of the best things I've ever played. That is kind of where I am with House of Fata Morgana. It's like, I can't say I'm being like, oh, Fata Morgana, all this fucking amazing shit has happened. Very little has happened. A new maid has started working at the rich people mansion, and it seems like there might be something up with her. And it's got an atmosphere. Like, it totally has something. And the artwork is really weird. It's this really hyper, like, it's like anime style, but hyper rendered anime style where everything is very like blended and smooth.
It's a lot of painting.
Yeah, I took a look. The artwork is gorgeous.
Some of it's nearly a little uncanny or doll-like, but I don't think that really works against it. You know what I mean? Because there is some fucking creepy shit in this game. And the last I played, like I really don't want to... I don't want to give too much away because I think that a lot of this game is actually discovering what's happening. But there was like a really, really uncomfortable scene where like it was actually kind of brilliant because I think visual novels, when you play them, you're clicking, you're just pressing the button, advancing text. And when that happens, something in your brain does just click into this repetitive, monotonous action, and that just becomes your reality. And when a visual novel breaks that monotony, it can be really shocking. And there was a moment during this game where that happened, where basically I was watching these character portraits talk to each other for like 3 or 4 hours, and then the next thing, there was a face right in front of me. It wasn't a bloody face, it wasn't a gory face, it wasn't even a scary face, but there was a real like intrusion of that, because the scenario is that the person whose perspective you're viewing the story from does not want this person that close to them. And it was a real like, whoa, and like not a jump scare, but just more deeper and more uncomfortable than that.
It broke the format after like 3 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was like, fuck, oh come on, like, and it was good, you know. And I have been enjoying it, and this is the fucking problem with visual novels. I recently stumbled across the line, you are cursed to fall in love with women only whom you are blood related to. And I was like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Fucking great.
Every time.
And like, you know, we just had the fucking Seiya no Uta saga on this podcast, and I don't...
12 minutes.
They keep getting us. These video games, they keep getting us. And I don't know where this is going, because like now in the context of the video game, what I just said is framed as a very bad thing. It's like this is one character's perception versus another character's perception, and the other character, like the character you're viewing the story from, is like, what the fuck? Like, they are not happy about this. And like, it's not like you can't touch that stuff. It's not like you can't go there. There's just a particular way. But with Seiya no Uta, like, that game had a very clear motivation for existing. And if that's the thing, like, if that is the thing of this game, then this game is porn. People can fuck off and enjoy their porn wherever, but like, if this is like a video game that's being recommended to me on the merit of it being amazing, I'm just not really interested in consuming someone else's porn. I might not even have any genuine fucking serious thoughts about it. I just don't want to have to interact with this shit. That said, I don't know where this goes, and it could totally go places that, like, you know, have that element as, you know, part of the story. Like, there's been good movies and games and comics that touch on shit like that, but there is a way and there is a level of indulgence I am not interested in, and so we'll see. I am kind of taken with this game. There's an atmosphere to it. I want to see what happens, but like that was literally the last thing I experienced, and after saying Iwata, I was just like, for fuck's sake, why do I play visual novels?
Something I'm wondering, because especially as you mentioned that trope, like something that happens with games that have like visual novels, games that have a lot of writing to translate, or just a lot of prose in general, is sometimes that the translation is not strong. Like the writing might be weak, or the translation might be weak, and I feel as if, like, especially, I mean, thinking of things like Disco Elysium, where you're just like, this is unbelievable writing quality.
Impeccable.
It's almost unfair to compare, but it's just, I kind of wonder, like, is the writing in this game, do you feel like strong? Is it translated well?
It's a little stiff, but that kind of, like, I would say there is maybe a playfulness that is not there from like some of the best localized games. But it is also Victorian era England, and so maybe that stiffness is intentional. Like it's tricky to say. It's not a bad localization as far as I can tell.
Because I think about like how, on one hand, you've got the way the stories in Lost Odyssey were translated, which are, in my opinion, the best parts of that game. They're unbelievably well done. And then on the other hand, you've got like the short stories in like Nier and Nier Automata, where you're like, I like what's happening here and I like the events, but the writing style is kind of, unfortunately, being translated in a way that makes it not as compelling as it could be. And, I guess I wonder like which of those it falls into, kind of thing, because it's a weird thing to you can't always expect that amazing, like you said, playfulness.
Yeah, again, like I think I need to play more, because I need to see where they are going with this, and like if that stiltedness is part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so far, like, I am enjoying the game. A little bit of a red flag, but we'll see. Okay. We'll report back.
Not a dunk on Nier, by the way. Love that game. It's amazing. Just a small observation.
Niamh.
Yes.
How are you getting on with Aliens Fireteam Elite?
I picked up Aliens Fireteam Elite because I needed something to play before Deathloop. And I was like really desperate for something to play. And I love me a 3-person co-op wave-based shooter. And this one is set in the world of aliens. So I was like, I'm going to pick this up because it's a budget title as well. It's not full price. It's around €40. And I really, really, really like this game. If you like aliens, this is giving you aliens in spades. It has beautiful environmental design, and it is bringing like together so much alien. Like, it is bringing aliens, Prometheus. Like, it is bringing alien isolation in there with the average Joes. It is bringing so much alien storytelling in this 3-person co-op wave shooter. And the way it works, you have a character creator, you make a character, you have about, I think, around 6 different, like, classes you could pick. I picked a doctor role so I can heal people, because that's the kind of role I like playing. But you can also change that at any moment and level that up and get all your perks for that. So it's not like the role isn't attached to the character. But I'm just surprised at the level of really decent alien storytelling that is happening with this. And the soundtrack is just impeccably alien. Like, if you love that movie and if you like those movies, the soundtrack is amazing. And you start this game, you get in a lobby, you get 2 other people. It is broken into 4 campaigns, and there's 3 missions in each campaign, and it makes around a 10-hour mainline story. And if you're interested in the story, there's a lot of alien lore there. It tells you about synthetics, it tells you about like kind of their use on the ship as a marine, and little lore things that if you're into alien, you're like, that's cool. It's like make you think. And it brings all of that. And it is so much aliens. Like, you have the little dog aliens, and they're called runners. And those things come at you in waves, and they are climbing the ceiling and coming behind you. And you do not know where they're coming. And there's like 50 of them all at one time. And you've got like your automatic rifle, and you're spraying them. You're like switching to your to your handgun because you're out of ammo. And you have to get to another ammo chest. So you're dealing with like kind of like scarce resources within this as well. And like, you're with another team, and you got a recon guy, and you're with another guy who's got a shield, and someone maybe have a flamethrower, and you're getting through this. And this isn't like one of those games where you have like a quiet moment where you can stop. Because every time you stop, an alien is running after you, and you've got like a drone. And the first drone you meet, and this is like the alien from the movie, and it's called Monica. And they're just like, that's, you know, the woman it came out of was called Monica.
Oh, that's fucked up.
And you do not know she's on the field until she grabs one of you. And like you turn around and one of your like teammates has like a drone alien on top of them, and you're like gunning it down. And if you're playing on the higher difficulties, your teammates take damage. So you have to be like, okay, I'm going to try and shoot this and not shoot you kind of thing. So you got your runner dogs, you got your drones that hatch from a person, you got your like big glowy brained ones, and because aliens have like acidic blood, if they explode on you, you'll take damage over time, so you have to kind of make sure you get those before they get near you. And every time you go through an area, you'll find crates, and each of those crates will give you like turrets and bombs, and you'll get a chance to make like a defensive area to protect yourselves against this onrush of aliens. And that's really cool.
That is really cool.
You're building up your defensive, and you're like keeping yourself safe. It's not just aliens you're against. I say it brings in Prometheus. You're against what were they called?
The progenitors?
Progenitors,
Yeah,
like
the
the
big-
engineers.
Big muscly
The big
dudes.
7 foot tall.
Yeah,
dudes.
they're not the huge
That's-
guys. They're
okay.
like they're smaller
Interesting.
in this, but they're
Okay.
brought into this. You got your synthetics.
Has it got the triangular xenomorph, the one that hatches out of them? The ones that are the weird hybrids.
Yeah, you got your hybrids, you got warriors, you got like these big bulldog ones that rush
Yeah, yeah.
Is there
you.
lore behind
The bulls is the bull xenomorphs the one with the spikes that come out?
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
They are so cool. There was the coolest toy of them.
So as you're mentioning that, I'm just thinking of the Kenner toys.
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
it was just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
the bull alien, the gorilla, all the
Every
toys.
alien you see
I really
is
like
in
the
this.
scorpion one. It had a scorpion tail at the back.
Yeah,
It was
scorpion.
fucking brilliant.
And like you're shooting with your automatic rifle, and like there's like raining like down like all of them, and you're taking them out in the ceiling, and they're dropping, and they have this beautiful animation where you shoot them, like they'll start skidding across the floor as they're getting to you, because you've
Okay.
like shot their legs from under them. But like all of a sudden you'll start going into like a Quicktime event, because like a face hugger is on you, and you have to like press a number of buttons, but you're also, people on your team can shoot them off.
Okay.
It is like the most alien ass game ever.
So I guess like you're going through xenomorphs and gunning them down like aliens style,
Yeah.
and not just like surviving one.
No, it's not
Yeah,
one. It's
okay.
This is aliens,
This is
not
aliens.
aliens.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
right.
is
Sounds
like
like James
full
Cameron.
Yeah.
like wave shit.
Hoorah.
I hope the
Shit.
Joker xenomorph is in there.
Not yet, but like
Just
you know,
give-
they
just
can do
give them a
anything
minute,
with
give them a
DLC.
minute, yeah.
People love the Joker. Have you met a queen yet?
Yes, there is a queen, and I ran from a queen, and it was the most tense I ever felt. And like your heart is beating. Like this shit is like crazy. You
This
don't
isn't
get a
on
second.
Game Pass, isn't it?
No, I paid for this, and that last bit, like you were like with people playing this, and you just hear people, because like the PS5 mic is on by default. You just hear people going like "fucking run!" like people are like super into this, and you're having a really good time because the people who are playing this are super into Alien. I'm loving it. I'm having such a good time, but this is where I tell you the bad stuff about it. No one's fucking playing it. It's so hard to get a
because
game.
The react, like everything you're about it saying about it sounds awesome, but like the reaction's been kind of muted in a lot of ways.
There is a bit of a red flag with the Alien franchise in video games, because it's either really, really good
Yeah.
or
Drek.
yeah.
You got Alien Isolation that everyone loves, and it's
There's
this
a
like
DS
first
game as well.
story game. Yeah.
There's a DS Metroidvania
The
style.
Metroidvania game,
That
yeah.
game's amazing, and the original like Alien vs Predator back in the late 90s was really fun.
And then you got Colonial Marines, and this is another Marine game, you know?
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah,
people don't want to take a chance
So
on
it's
it.
getting
kind of
lumped
thing.
in with that.
That sucks
That's-
because it
that's really
sounds
unfortunate.
cool.
Yeah.
I've been playing, like, it is out, like, I think it's been released, like, maybe 3 weeks, maybe 2. It is hard to get a game.
I'm still stuck on. So like you said, there's like pseudo engineers. Is there like lore behind like why they're there? And
Yeah, it
because
keeps
that's
building.
such a huge.
It's like a real
wild
like
thing.
it's like it feels like a sequel to Prometheus in a way, because like
Okay.
there's a whole narrative, and it's one of these things where these levels are designed for you to replay them over and over and over again. So the story, you can skip through it if you want, or you can listen to it, and it's like all told through like hub missions where someone like spews a lot of dialogue with you. And I don't think they've found the right balance of being able to communicate this narrative in the best way, but if you're really interested in it, you can listen to it, and it's all cool alien shit.
Okay.
But like part of me is just like, I wish this team got to make like a single player game or a drop in drop out co-op like story-driven game, because they can do it and all this shit is there, and it's like tied to this like co-op system that is already dead 3 weeks off of launch.
It
you know,
is a franchise that needs like a couple of solid hits to be rehabilitated, because the trust level is still iffy because it's not always
and
great.
like there is so much shit you can do with Alien. Like those old Sega Genesis Alien platformers, they weren't the best games, but they had some atmosphere. Like they were like the alien music coming out of like Sega Genesis like sound chips was kind of terrible and awesome, but like it was all clangy and those just desolate metal spaceship, and it was cool.
The soundtrack to this is really cool as well, and it really like builds and swells, and you see like the people you're playing with just like stop and look around, because you have like these like, you start off in like your spaceship, they're Endeavour, and like you keep going down and down into a hive, so it keeps getting more and more alien until by the later levels you're like shooting eggs, because if you don't shoot them they'll hatch, and the facehuggers will like just fuck up your game completely.
Do you go into like the temples with the space jockey and the terminals and stuff like that?
Okay. All that stuff is there. Like it is super
and it's got all the hieroglyphs on the wall and all. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's just like, Marines, what is this shit? You're on a rescue mission and like everything has gone bananas, and you're like, it is gone bananas. And like it's just like there's so much alien love and care put into this, but like it is so hard to get a game. And if you're playing this solo, they give you like synthetics as your co-op partners, like Alpha and Beta as their names, but like they don't have any of the like, they don't come in with turrets, they don't come in with all the perks of like you leveling up a recon soldier or doc or anything.
Get out of here. Alphas only. I keep saying that on the stream.
Yeah, fuck yeah. He's the wolf. He's got the wolf. He's the Sigma now.
I told you that in confidence.
Oh my god.
So what a week to learn about Sigma males. That's all I'm saying.
Is Will and Yutani up to some sneaky shit?
Yeah, they're like, this. Will and Yutani has made this. Synthetics are streaming out. You've got your average Joes. Like, it has everything alien going for it, and it's just like, it's just a pity that it's not there. One of the downsides is these like, each campaign mission that you're on, they can run like 45 minutes to an hour. And if you die towards the end, or if someone gets disconnected, or if someone just goes AFK, you cannot finish it with two people. And you do not get any of your spoils. Like and you go into it and you maybe have like equipped yourself with 15 like bombs and like 3 turrets, because that's the max you can bring in. You use them, you die in it. All of those are used. You don't get any credits to buy anything new. So it's kind of punishing if you don't manage to finish a run, and after you finish the campaign there's a horde mode, and again that's punishing. You could be playing that for an hour and then die on wave 10 or wave 15 if you can decide to continue on. You don't get like shit for it, like kind of thing. So it's a bit of a punishing game, but it's just like it has so much going for it and no one's playing it, and it doesn't have crossplay either. Like, it has cross-generation play. You can play PS4 to PS5 and, like, Xbox One to Xbox Series X and S.
That's frustrating.
But, like Outlanders, which this reminds me of, like, Outriders, which this reminds me of a lot. Every game I got after a month of playing Outriders was crossplay, and you saw the crossplay logo. So I'm hoping that they just, like, can do crossplay on this.
That switch.
Because that's the only way to keep this alive.
Crossplay saves games.
Yeah, totally.
That's a bummer.
I know, because like I want to be like, go pick this game up. If you like Alien, go pick it up. I'm like,
it does seem pretty rad. Like,
it's super hard to get a game.
There's a lot coming out in the next few weeks. I probably won't, but this has gone from something I don't care about to something I would at least like to have the time to play. So yeah, maybe find some sweeties in Let's Fight a Boss Discord.
It's true. Do you want to go through intense mode on that campaign with me? I can do it. I'm your doctor. I can heal you.
Have any of you guys heard of Fuga Memories of Steel?
No.
Melodies of
Steel?
What this?
Okay. So this is a JRPG from CyberConnect.
Ooh.
CyberConnect being the people behind the Naruto games and Asura's Wrath. This is the most out of left field game you could possibly expect from those guys. They're basically, they worked on the Final Fantasy VII remake for a time before it was taken off them, which I love CyberConnect, but that sounds like the right move. They work on big cinematic games and
Over the top cutscene company.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I love them. I really, really like CyberConnect. And this game is like part visual novel light, part turn-based action game, where basically the story is you're a bunch of little cat children and you are being invaded by an evil dog empire. It's very Japanese, just so we're getting that clear. And you find a giant... These children, there's like 8 of them, find a giant tank and get inside. And the game is kind of these nearly... Not advanced wars in terms of like there being a map. There's no map. But like your tank is on the left, the enemy vehicles are on the right, and each member of your party has a different weapon. So you can put this girl in the turret and she has a grenade launcher. You can put this guy there, he has a light machine gun. You can put this person there, they have a rocket launcher. And then there's a kind of like, you know, this type of enemy is weak to light machine guns. And if you can hit the enemy units with the gun that corresponds to them, you can delay their turn. So you get to take another turn before they get to do. And there's nearly a very puzzly aspect of you're trying to repeatedly stagger your enemy, right? But there's a gimmick to this game that's so fucking weird and interesting. You get into this battle early on and you can't win. Like it's just too difficult. And this ghost appears on your ship and it's like, oh, we should just use the soul cannon. And you're like, okay. And it's like, which one of your little 8 children do you want to send downstairs to use the soul cannon? And it's like, I was like, I guess Pretzel would probably be pretty good. They all have like food names. I guess Pretzel seems like the right choice here. And it's like, okay, sending Pretzel to use the soul cannon. Are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, no, it's fine. Soul cannon goes off, wipes out the enemy unit. Afterwards, you find Pretzel's hat and nothing else because Pretzel got fucking obliterated to use this weapon. The gimmick of this game is that if you get into a battle you can't win, you have to feed your children to this. You feed your cat children to this tank to like basically get out of it. And it's real, like, you know, it's very light. It's like in a lot of ways, but then like you win your first battle and the kids are all like, did we just kill someone? And it's weird. It's super interesting. My concern is that's a really great concept, and I love the idea of like you are, you know, because like you're fighting and like the children get like scared and depressed and all this kind of stuff because like they don't like being shot at. My worry is that like I'm about 5 hours into it and it's cool, but I don't know if the writing is strong enough to pull off this concept because a lot of the time it's very light. It's very, I'm gonna say like deviant art furry fanfic so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where it's just, you know, very just pleasant for the most part until it's really dark. And like I'm not opposed to that, but I also, there's only so much of those cutscenes I can X through, you know?
So, I mean, just looking at screenshots, that is the least CyberConnect looking thing I've ever seen.
Completely. Like,
Is there any signature whatsoever of their usual style?
The soul cannon going off looks pretty extreme, but not in like a big 3D way. Like it's all in 2D.
Okay.
But that's a big over the top thing.
Okay.
But other than that, this CyberConnect would be one of the last people I ever thought who would make this. It's interesting. Like I'm glad I'm playing it. I don't know. I think the story's gonna have to ramp up a lot for me to really care, because right now like there's 8 characters. I don't really give a shit about any of them. In fact, there's 1 or 2 of them
that you'd put in the soul cannon.
They make pretty good ammo.
Here's my question:
I'm
do you
just
think you could play through the entire game without putting anyone in the soul cannon apart from the story specific
See, I
ones,
don't
or is
know,
it
because
designed around you having to use
because
it?
what I want is if you fuck up in a battle, now you have to use the soul cannon. But it seems to me like there's a couple of battles where I've been this close to losing and the option to use the soul cannon hasn't activated. And so I'm like, oh, if this is a story thing, I think that takes the power out of that. Because I want to fuck up and I want to make a mistake. And like,
Instead of replaying, you're like, oh well, Maybe
It's gotta have
pretzel
weight.
needs to go.
Yeah, but or maybe pretzel's all right. Well, that fucking chocolate talks a lot. And just like, chocolate, you don't need to stand near the turret. In fact, we're just going to put you here in front of the soul cannon in case anything happens at all.
That's a really strong concept, but it only works if it's your decision.
Yeah.
You know?
And like the battles are engaging, and like it is a fun game to pick up and play for 30 minutes and just work your way across a map and like, get into those fights. But I'm wondering like how much depth there is to those battles, because like I'm kind of unlocking special attacks, and it's kind of a lot of the stuff, here's my damage over time attack, here's my attack all the enemies attack, and I'm kind of like, I think I need just a little more sizzle to this battle system. And I'll probably play a bit more of it. Like it seems cool, but I think things would have to pick up quite a bit for me to be like, let's do it. Or like, we're coming up to Game of the Year, and I'm starting to think about like what are the games that I really want to get behind. And this is a cool game, but there's been some really cool games out this year, and there's some really cool games coming out this year.
Yep.
And yeah.
Are you playing this on the Switch? Or?
Switch, yeah. And it's a good Switch game. It's very nice to just sit in your bed and play.
I appreciate the Metal Slug vibes of the tank design.
That's maybe one thing I failed to
real
mention.
chunky.
The tank looks awesome, but when that thing moves, the amount of like moving parts, and it like this part is bouncing separate, and like
it's breathing.
The wheels are like they are the diagonal tracks down into the earth, and it looks fucking cool.
Hell yeah.
But it's an interesting one. Wolves, why don't you tell us about this Shin Megami Tensei?
Have you heard of the Mega 10? Have you? It's a pretty popular series, and it includes the Personas.
Apparently, they're dancing games.
Yeah. And a fighting game too.
Oh yeah. The fighting and dancing games.
There you go. That's the ones. No, so we decided to play on the Woolie versus channel where I make videos. We played Shin Megami Tensei. Yes?
You get one fucking chance to plug your shit at the end of this podcast.
Don't
do that
I just
again.
used it.
Don't do that.
You have to be patient with that stuff.
Last 20 minutes.
Edit it,
okay.
Cut it out.
Only if you wouldn't. Jesus fucking Christ.
No. This is all staying in.
Woolie, look at me. Strike two.
All right. So, yes, Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner, Raidou Kuzunoha versus the Soulless Army.
This isn't the DS game. No, those Devil Survivor.
This is a PS2 game.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
No, it can get confusing. Devil Survivor. There's
It's
Devil
the
Summoner.
DS and 3DS.
Yeah, and then there's Devil Summoner. Like there's different ones of them, and then there's more than one Raidou Kuzunoha game. So it can get confusing. But this is the first of those, and you play as that cool detective dude in the sharp like Naruto kind of outfit.
Oh, I've glanced at this man.
Yeah.
Real slick.
Yeah. And I mean, I say Naruto just so that people understand, because that's the reference to, but it came before, so don't trust me. And he's got the sword.
Hold your comments, everyone.
Yeah, experts.
He's got the sword, he's got the gun, and you are summoning demons, and they're fighting with you on the battlefield. And it's taking place in the fictional era of Taisho 20, like the 20s in Japan, in an era that didn't actually exist, or to that depth, to that length rather. Super cool, man. Just like fun to see, that era of Japan being shown, like, the influence of like, the British kind of, and some of the almost like it's the same vibe as the Great Ace Attorney. You know what I mean? Like you have it's that kind of thing being covered. All the familiar SMT demons that you see over the years, and this is just a game that again I never.
How many dicks?
No Maras yet. No Maras yet.
I'm out.
Okay, Jack Bros.
Jack Bros for sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lian Shi is in, so that's cool. I like her. She's dope. Yeah, I'm hoping that we eventually get to some dicks. I hope we eventually get to some.
Isn't that what we're always?
And
Where's my big penis chariot?
I really want it. I do. And I hope we get to some of the crazy, end like Lucifers and all the wild demons that come towards the end game, But for now you're just kind of like, it feels as if like this, if this were an anime, it'd be like, here's your detective. He's a super cool guy. He's inherited the name. Now he's going to help a different girl every week. You know, or he's going to help a different person struggling, like, oh no, my lost dog went into the dark realm, help me find it. And then it leads to some horrible dark family secret in a graveyard somewhere. And then in the end, you know, like, you save the day and then you walk into the sunset and then you never see that kid again, kind of thing. You know, like, it feels like that's what it would be. But as a game, you're also feeling a little bit of the SMT age in terms of, like, there's demon fusion, but you got to do it the old school way, which is just like...
You're doing it blind where you're guessing it?
So we eventually had to pull the chart out.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I can't be going random. Select, you pick 2 demons, hope you get the right result. And if you get a result you like, you still have to hope you get the right moves. And if you don't, you have to back out and go in again.
I've never been able to commit to the chart with, like, fusions and all that kind of stuff. It's just a level of nuance I'm just not willing to go to.
I think the first one to do was Persona 4 Golden. Had, like, this is the prospect of what you will get, you know, get if you combine these. But, like, before that, you didn't have a clue.
Here's my question. Do you need to have a clue, or can you just brute force it with, like, strong...
force it, but, like, you're gonna have...
see stuff.
You're gonna have a rough time, because you either, like... Let's say you want a really cool demon to have, and you want some of the strongest moves. You'll be missing out on, like, some of these optimal fusions by just only using what you catch.
Yeah.
You know? Because basically, like, you know, like, you can catch a demon and use it, and it'll be fine. But to get the strongest ones, you always have to fuse 2 ones you have into something better, you know? And the best abilities are going to come from that. You'll just kind of hamstring yourself, you know? The other thing is that you've got, like, ammo, that you've got bullets of different element types, and those trigger weaknesses that, you know, you can combine to, like, help you catch things. And yeah, it's an overall, like, a fun kind of, like... It's you're running around in an RPG overworld, and then you get into a fight, and then it turns into a little action game in a small corridor, and then you go back to the RPG overworld kind of feeling, you know. But I really like it. It's something that I'm sad I missed, you know, early on. But this is a whole franchise that I only got into later.
It's always a weird feeling when you're like, oh, this would have been a big part of, like, my... I don't know what you call it, like, your gaming vocabulary, if I had played it back in the day.
Formative.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think so.
It's really cool with a lot of the back catalog of those games, because some of them get localized, a lot of them don't. But now there's fan translation since lockdown. A lot of that community have just been like,
oh, that's so cool.
They're just like, look,
going hard.
They've got free time. Let's pick a game, and it's easy enough to get a ROM of these now, or an ISO, and run them that way.
Yeah, no, I really, you know, it's a game that, like, I was warned when I started it. A lot of people went like, hey man, just so you know, you're going back to a really old game. It's going to be rough. You might have some, you know, some hard times with things. And I was like, okay, I took that in stride, you know, and I played it, but I'm like, no, I'm loving this. I'm really enjoying it. And they're like, oh, okay, good, because the sequel smooths over a lot of that stuff with quality of life, you know? And, like, I'm like, okay, well, that's just perfect. Because there's little bits where I'm like, yeah, that's a little annoying, but it's not too bad. You know,
but like, you grew up with this stuff as well. You had PS2 area. Like, if you tell an 18-year-old that they're gonna go back and play an older game, but you tell someone in their 30s, you're just like, I've been there. You know, I know what I'm getting into when I go and play a PlayStation 2 game. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done
it's very
that.
testing.
It's crazy how much, like, little fixes can save old stuff as well. Because, like, I remember playing through the original Final Fantasy VII like a year or two ago, and the by 3 speed up of that is a fucking miracle. Like, it saves that game from, I think, being the most unwieldy piece of shit. And it's cool.
There's a lot of things. Yeah, there's a lot of little times where you just kind of go like, one little thing right here, you know, one little touch. But yeah, no, in this case, it's been great so far. I can't wait to see where it goes. Fucking Rasputin shows up. And you're like, oh yeah, hey, historical figure.
Well, I guess it's the 1920s. He's there. He's alive.
Exactly. You know, they tried, they couldn't. As the story goes, Russia's greatest love machine just wanders into the game, and you're like, yeah, why the fuck not? You know?
Yeah, he's trekked the whole continent over to Japan.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, like meanwhile over in Persona, you're dealing with Hitler. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, I'm not gonna bat an eye at this. You know. But yeah, just a classic that I definitely recommend. And, you know, of the games to go back to, like, yeah, not every SMT game is going to be, like, going to feel as smooth and going to be as, like, you know, like, yeah, you can still play this now, you know? I don't want to start any wars, but, like, the other thing I was considering playing was Persona 2, which I hear has a fantastic story. And like I popped it in and I did the first couple hours of it, and it was rough going.
Yeah.
There's cool stuff, but
The people who love Persona 2 fucking love Persona 2.
it's
Like
got some rough
that is a
stuff.
very small but very passionate fan base. But
Yeah.
I've watched some videos of it.
yeah, no, absolutely, you know. So I was just like, okay, this is I'll gladly take that. So that's a thing that I'm enjoying right now. And then the other thing I feel like it sounds like you already have covered this and you already know the deal, but right before that we were playing Disco Elysium. And I don't like to hyperbolize, but it's simply the best written game I've ever played. It's just the number one. I don't know how else to put it, you know. And the moment I played it the first time, it was before they made the director's cut, and it was something that actually like I felt how strong it was right away, and I was sad because I'm like, I can't possibly let's play this. It's got too much to read, and I'll lose my voice doing it. And then they made the director's cut. They add the voices to it, and they add fantastic voice acting.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Unbelievable, you know. And you're just, you're this detective that's trying to get his life together, and you're a goddamn wreck, and every one of your stats is a character, you know. And so you're basically in a party with like 24 other characters talking to you. It's I've never played a game like it that had that much like instant feeling of like, as soon as I'm done playing it, I want to replay it.
Yeah, it's the first game I think I've played like this generation, and like granted this generation is not old, but it's the first game I played this generation where it's like, oh, this is like a game of the generation contender for me. Like this is Red Dead 2, like Yakuza 0, Undertale level shit for me. Like that's how much I kind of love this game.
I mean, I was right before this, I was singing the praises of 13 Sentinels, and I still am. But
I love that game.
It's incredible. But I'm hard recommending Disco to anybody who hasn't.
Did you ever take a look at it, Niamh? Because I know you're...
No, it's on my list
Yeah.
for forever.
I'd be so curious to see what you think of it.
And, you know, and you just kind of have these things of like, okay, listen, a lot of games try to dodge the feeling of diving into politics. And this game is like, you fucking coward.
Oh, it's a mechanic.
You're going to say one of these fascist or communist things or fuck off. That's a literal line in the game, you know?
Yeah.
And it straight up just goes like, what do you believe in? Oh, really? Do you? Yeah, let's take a look at that stupid ass thing. Why do you believe that? You know? And you just... And it's in a fictional context, and like none, like the history, the world, all of this stuff is made up, but the energy is familiar. You know, when you encounter the uber racist, the final boss of racism in like the first 20 minutes of this game, you've never met a character like this that's just like from the top of a fucking mountaintop. He's going on diatribes.
He's the worst.
Unbelievable levels of just like phrenology comes out in seconds, you know, and you're just like, like you're talking to you is so interesting. And he's just talking about fictional races and fictional concepts, but you know that energy. No other game does that, you know, and then offers you the option to try to kick his ass or subscribe to his philosophy, you know? So yeah, anyway.
I don't know what way like the racist fascist route goes because I haven't played it, but I have heard that basically if you go that direction, Kim basically becomes the counterpoint of like, everything you're saying is completely full of shit, and that I think is a fantastic way to handle that.
Okay, so I started my replay, and there's a couple moments I've done because I've started my replay and I'm playing a belligerent, physical, racist asshole.
Wow.
Right? I want to see how this goes, and it's a very different game. And the two things that are startling right off the bat is one, Kim will go, "Hey, no judgment. I just want to check your thinking for a second on that last conversation. What's up with that? What did you mean by that?" And he just has that and he goes, "Okay, let's continue." And my understanding is you do that and you do that sufficiently enough, and at some point he fucking doesn't want to deal with you anymore and he leaves.
Oh, that's fuck, because Kim, he is the best.
The best.
He is the sweetest, coolest character.
You can fucking make him walk.
Oh, I would feel so bad because like I was borderline in love
Right.
with him by the end of that game.
And then the second thing is, and this is you meet really early. You meet this character named Kuno, and
Fuck Kuno.
that exactly. That's the energy. This child is the most like.
So Bryan, Niamh, do you ever meet like just a scary Dublin child and you
Oh, yeah.
can't handle
Oh, yeah.
them?
Oh yeah, like a little brat that knows that they hold the power because you're an adult and they have child invincibility.
Exactly.
But they will also say shit that is viler than anything you've ever heard.
Yep.
That's Kuno.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, I know the kid.
They're calling you everything under the sun, and there's nothing you can fucking do about it, adult. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You gonna hit me? You gonna hit me?
I did actually hit Kuno.
So, that was your playthrough?
No, that was one of my like failed attempts to get into Disco Elysium.
Okay. Because, last thing I want to say on it, not to fucking hog on all this, but
I did nearly shoot his friend though.
Okay, John.
I went that route. I couldn't believe the game has these checks where you're just like, do something insane, and you're like, there's no way it's gonna fucking, oh my god, it's letting me do this.
Yep.
Why is it not stopping me? And the game's like, how far do you want to go? You want to play chicken, bitch? You want to play fucking chicken?
I kind of love that about the game though, because it taught you to kind of respect it, because it was like, okay, if I just fuck around, the game is actually going to destroy my life.
Exactly.
So I need to actually think about my actions here.
So this shit child, right, who's, again, I can't just, like, he's the worst. And, you kind of, and real quickly and easily, you're like, what's the deal with this kid? And it's like, oh, like, he's coming from a place where at home he's getting it. He's getting the fucking shit kicked out of him, And so you're like, okay, this is what's up. How do we deal with this? You can be that guy like John over here, and you can take a swing.
I whooped him.
Or try and like change that learned behavior.
Or fail or whatever. And so ultimately in my game I ended up like not doing it, and he just goes, ha ha, you fucking bitch, like I owned you, and then just the rest of the game goes on and he's just taunting you, and it's the worst.
Yeah, I walked away from it and I was
Right.
like, he did own me.
But if you land it and you knock, and this is early in the game, and if you knock him on his fucking ass and he gets back up, everything he says from that point on for the rest of the game, so far at least, changes to a second line reading where he's not like, ha, you fucking pig. He's like, huh, okay. All right, pig. I see what you're about.
Oh.
I get it. Yeah, you're big and strong. Yep. Okay. Kuno gets it. And he has this like,
he's submitted.
You're one of them.
Okay, because the last I talked to him, I was like, hey, Kuno, could you get me some acid? And he was like, fuck you. And I was like, right, okay, sir.
He switches to a second line read. That's on crazy. The same. He's saying similar things, and you're moving forward in the same kind of conversations. But he just has this like, oh yeah, you're just like him. I get. I see what you're about.
That's really sad.
And it stays with you. That's the kind of game this is. Unbelievable. So fucking Disco Elysium all the way. That's.
Is it on Switch?
No, I don't think so.
I think they want to make a version.
Yeah, they do.
But
there's nothing like it.
Yeah, it's pretty special. Bryan, Heart Chain Kitty. Okay. Let's go from Disco Elysium to Heart Chain Kitty.
I only want to talk about this game briefly because the less said, the better.
Okay.
Because this game is a mystery. Heart Chain Kitty is a game that showed up on the Switch eShop with this kind of 2D artwork thumbnail that was like, okay, it looks like a 3D platformer. I'm going to pass around an image of what this game looks like.
Oh, I've seen this. This kind of looks... I'm not going to say ugly, but weird.
What?
Okay, so this is a game that is unironically Sonic Dreams Collection.
Oh, no!
And it was €8 on the Switch eShop. It had the 2D artwork, but then when you look into the actual art, like the gameplay footage, I was like, this is someone modeling in 3D that doesn't really... They're not...
There's
the best.
So many things I want to ask you about what you mean by unironically, but I think I'm in. I think I'm just good to go.
I think it's made by one person, and when I check the support information on the game, it lists like a Gmail email. So I kind of want to email the guy, like not being mean or anything, but I just want to be like, hey, why did you make this game, or what led you to making this game? Fuck it. Because the thing is, I don't dislike this game, but I don't like it either. But I saw it. And, I knew I was, setting myself up for a form of disappointment. So it's not, a bad game where I'm like, oh, well, obviously I wasn't going to dislike. Because, the game is playable. It's a 3D collection fest platformer, but a modern one made in the same vein as, Yooka-Laylee and A Hat in Time. But this is, if A Hat in Time is, Banjo-Kazooie or Mario 64... then Heart Chain Kitty is like Glover, where it's kind of on the lower tier of riding on like the success of bigger games.
Okay.
And you play as a kitty, who's kitty with an E, but then sometimes it's spelled kitty without an E. And you are on the land of dreams, and you go through portals, and you open up the map menu, and they're all kind of interconnected with this weird Venn diagram, like molecule system. I cannot wrap my head around this game. The music is like, you know how before we were recording and we were talking about the hurdy-gurdy? Mm-hmm. It is just, it sounds like a carnival instrument that's on a crank. It's haunting. And the enemies in this game are just very upsetting in a way that's like, that is not art direction that I'm familiar with.
Okay.
But like the game is completely playable, but I don't know how far I'm going to go into this. I needed to know what this was. But like, I can't find anything out on this. Like, I can't find any reviews on this game. When I typed this game into YouTube to see footage of it, there was like 5 uploads. So like, nobody knows this game.
So you talking about this is probably the biggest spotlight this game has had.
Because like, you know how earlier this year we had Bale in Wonderworld and everybody had their dunk on that game?
I was thinking about it as you were talking, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, okay, so like, this game isn't even Bale in Wonderworld. Like, this is where this game is on the like tier of like missteps of 3D
But there's something about
platformers.
it that you're kind of enamored.
Yeah, because like the guy who's making this is making this from a place of sincerity.
Interesting.
And like, I don't want to be mean to this game because like there is stuff I like about this game, but like,
And
this,
like if it's one dude and they made a video game, that's fucking hard.
yeah, I couldn't do that.
No.
But like this game is an acquired taste, and sometimes I'm playing it and I'm like, I can't do this one today. I can't do this. I can't play this
When
game.
you like Google this, the first thing comes up in bold is it's a very rough port of a pretty rough game that results in uncomfortable play.
yeah. Because like it's kind of like
That sentence
Yeah.
is great.
it's kind of like playing a nightmare, or like you know when you have those nightmares where like the bed sheets are holding you back, so you're walking in mud in your nightmare dream, and so it kind of feels like, because like it's really hard to get momentum in this game, and like momentum and jumps are the most important part of a platformer, and this game, his like forward jump is never forward enough, and so his arcs are really shit, and like the way you like upgrade the kitty so he has like his like grappling hand and stuff like that, none of that is like
Grapple hand.
so like none of that is organic in a way that kind of leads the player to like talk to the NPC that like for ages you're just talking to a fridge and the fridge is like, if you had money I could help you.
Bryan, I have a review up here, and the words that are popping out to me is disgusting visuals, seizures, causing a color scheme that causes headaches.
Oh yeah, so
A color scheme that is gross.
every level looks the same because there's no like snow level or desert level. Everything is just like they got modeling clay and went and just like they got.
It really does look like a nightmare.
It looks like an acid trip. Like,
Do you know what it kind of reminds me of? Like, me and Niamh spent a fair bit of time in Dreams last year.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
This looks like a dream game.
Okay,
No, yeah,
I
it
can see
does.
it. I can see it. A bad jump in a platformer is torture.
yeah.
I mean, it's like Shovel Knight's so shit, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, John doesn't like Shovel Knight. Oh, and also none of us like Overwatch. Like we all detest that. Or not Overwatch. No,
Firewatch.
Firewatch. Oh, Overwatch I have no opinion of. Firewatch, we detest that game.
Bryan also agrees that The Matrix Reloaded is the best Matrix
It's the
movie.
best one. It's got the twins in it.
So yesterday I said to Woolie, The Matrix Reloaded is an amazing piece of cinema. I don't know why they felt the need to make both a prequel and sequel.
The Matrix Reloaded needs knowledge of the first and third film, a short film that acts as a prologue, and a GameCube game that runs parallel to it. Amazing.
Let's not forget The Matrix Online, which Morpheus canonically died in.
Dies in the
Yeah.
war. Yep.
It's not a Matrix 4 because he died in
Nope.
Matrix Online.
No, that's why he has an AIB2 reboot.
Can we just keep talking about the Animatrix, please? Just leave it there, you know.
Yeah. I actually did rewatch that over summer. It's still,
Oh, was it? And, does it hold
We
up?
had this conversation last night. It holds up?
Oh, it's real
Okay,
fun.
okay, cool.
God
yeah.
damn.
Oh, they are just a great time.
God, the sprinting man.
That bit is so world record is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Final Flight of the Osiris. Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
With the spirits within team.
Yeah.
What do you think? What are you thinking, Niamh?
I'm just skimming reviews for this game, and it's still like garish, disgusting.
Like people are upset playing this, but like
rotten corpse of a rainbow. People are just really disgusted by this game.
Bryan, you need to reach out to this person.
Yeah.
You need to reach out and find
an
out.
unbroken string of poor choices that is game design. Like people do not like this.
I love when people dislike something so much that their writing kind of levels up.
Yeah, it's
like people are having to.
I haven't
reach.
read a review that's this like where they're creatively trying to call this game disgusting and bad, like in so many different ways.
But see, the game isn't like buggy. Well, like it is buggy, but like it's playable. It's just it's a third person museum curation through the world of horror.
Is there something to it, Bryan?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like someone loved this.
Because like this, whatever you want to say,
Someone
this
cared.
does not sound like an uninteresting game.
I'm not disappointed by this game. Not surprised either. I am just. It takes a lot out of you. It pulls. It sucks energy, but I don't know what energy that is.
It sounds like you just have respect for the artistic endeavor, and that's where it is.
Okay. This is outsider art as a video game.
I mean, that's beautiful and terrible at the same time.
Okay.
And so I know people don't Balan Wonderworld, and like sure that game got its time in the sun. This game, why is this a game?
But like with Balan Wonderworld, it's like this dude made Sonic, and this is not that.
It sounds like it's like the Xbox Live Indies era almost,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Man,
yeah.
Anyway,
that's all I want to say.
Okay, No More Heroes 3. I think in a lot of ways this is a game that should not exist.
It sort of happened.
Somehow, and I feel bewildered by this game in a lot of ways. There's a part where I was walking on a beach in No More Heroes 3, and it kind of, for whatever reason, is done up like the kind of Normandy landing, nearly. It's kind of like a battle happened here.
Call of battle. And it's just meant to be like a World War II first-person shooter genre game environment.
And I was walking along, and I happened upon one of the most beautifully modeled tanks I'd ever seen. Just a really sharply, not in terms of fidelity, but just in art direction. It's like, oh wow, someone really fucking sat down and just carved this tank and added all this little detail and flair, and it looks like it's a part of the technology of this world, and it's beautiful. And that was next to the shittest looking seawater I've ever seen in a video game. That is No More Heroes 3. Like, it is, I think its highs are so high and its lows are like, this is barely working. Like, I can feel this video game shaking and sputtering and about to explode.
Yeah, this game has some strange priorities.
Oh my god, yeah. I had pretty muted expectations going into this because it's like, okay, it's a long running game, game series that a few people love it, and a lot of people just ignore it, and like that's Shenmue, and Shenmue 3, didn't work out so great, and
heard good things.
There's kind of some stuff in this podcast we just don't joke about. That's one of them.
So we all don't like Firewatch, but we all apparently, there's a personal attack.
We're like unanimously agreed that Shenmue 1 and 2 are masterpieces.
I didn't
Shenmue
mind
3.
the bit of Firewatch I played, but I don't know, whatever. Anyway,
I really don't like Shenmue at all.
We're currently working our way through Let's Play Shenmue 2, and there's some growing pains with Bryan and Shenmue. Like he's at the midpoint where he's about to get it, but it just hasn't clicked yet.
It's not even a bit.
No More Heroes 3.
Travis Touchdown's back.
Travis Touchdown is back.
And there's aliens, and he's gonna take on them rank by rank.
Yeah, so you start this game, and you're immediately introduced to the entire plot through a 5-minute anime cutscene that looks so much better than it has any right to.
Yeah, and it's basically like anime E.T.
It's anime E.T. if E.T. was a fucking asshole.
The trailer they showed off of the goddamn superhero.
And it's weird. Like, I have followed Suda51 for a long time. I love Killer 7. I love a lot of the things he's done. Wasn't into Lollipop Chainsaw or
Killer is Dead.
Killer is Dead. I always forget the name. Like, I wasn't really into them, but
then Shadows of the Damned is fun.
Shadows of the Damned is fun, and like, Travis Strikes Back or Travis Strikes Again. I always get those names mixed up. Is like interesting. Yeah, that's fair. Like, I'm not gonna defend it, but No More Heroes 3. There was a point with this game where I just started to feel like weirdly proud of Suda, because it's like, oh, Suda, you made a genuinely fun video game.
Cool.
And it's like, this combat is the best combat he has ever done. And I played this game on hard just because like I was very familiar with the other No More Heroes games, and it really, there was a lot of decision making that I had to think about. It's like, okay, if I stand here and do this enemy's just gonna rush me and I'm dead. I need to stand here, and then when this enemy starts to approach, I need to run to this part, use this like power on this enemy and save this power for this enemy. Like, genuinely like tactically breaking down these fights to try and get the best out of them. And it was honestly fucking awesome. Like, the combat system of this really did worm its way into my brain, and like, it's not super complicated. It's not character action. It's not that far off either, though.
No, it's like it's almost at Vanquish, but not quite.
Yeah, like it's missing
because there is strategy where you like character loads in and you've got your 3 enemies and you're like, how am I gonna like X, Y, and Z this?
Yeah.
No, I guess I'm just thinking of like the aspects where like you kind of end up with the waggling and the Wiimote gestures and stuff, and obviously that stuff's gone now. So it sounds like it's been
there, but it's optional.
Yeah,
okay.
you can do it with like the nunchuk.
Okay.
It's cool, but I think outside the battles, this is one of like
this game's fucking vibing.
The most just fucking audacious games I have played in a long time. Like, some of the shit they pull. Like, there's full-on sections. There's multiple, like, they're like mini podcasts nearly, where it's Travis and his best friend Bishop, who runs a video shop, talking about how much they like Takashi Miike.
They love Takashi Miike films.
What's your favorite?
Well, I mean, Bishop is more, he likes the kind of samurai stuff, but Travis likes the kind of like Yankee like school stuff.
Mine is either I love Phoenix Wright, the Jojo Part 4 movie, or else The Happiness of the Katakuras.
And that, like, it just feels like nonsense, the Takashi Miike discussions, until it has like I don't want to ruin it for people, but the fucking weirdest payoff, and it's like, why would you do this? Why would you put this in a game?
It's very important.
And there was so much stuff I just really appreciate about this game. Like, first of all, with No More Heroes, you are always working your way from 1 to 10 through all these assassins, and in No More Heroes, it kind of creates this problem where the last boss is always like, hello, it's me, the last boss, let us fight. And in No More Heroes,
there's no build-up outside of like you not knowing anything about them.
Yeah, and in No More Heroes 1, I think they pull that off with Jean.
Yeah, they do.
She's great. But then in No More Heroes 2, I think it's maybe the worst last boss fight I've ever experienced.
I couldn't give a shit.
Yeah, what the fuck was that? No More Heroes 3, they plant Fu, this giant blue alien. He comes and he like kills one of your friends, tears the arm off another of your friends, and is just a fucking asshole the entire way through the game, and you want to beat up this stupid jock alien so badly, and when you do, like, that fight is so satisfying.
Oh, it's very good.
It's fucking brilliant.
And everybody's fucking fed up with his shit.
Yeah, and it's great, and like, there's so many parts of this game. Like, there's one boss
and like all the alien designs look like Sofubi toys, and they're just bright and colorful with patterns. They all look fantastic.
And then sometimes it's like they build up an alien and it's like
a fake out.
Then an assassin from like earlier No More Heroes comes back and it's like, hey Travis, it's me. They kill the alien in one shot and they're the boss battle.
Yeah.
And
then some of the boss battles aren't even traditional third-person fights. They're its own thing. Like, at one point, the animation team who did Pop Team Epic take over.
Wow.
Cool.
And you have to fight Velvet Chair Girl in honestly one of my favorite gaming moments this year. And the music, I keep listening to the soundtrack for that bit. Fucking amazing.
I mean, it sounds honestly, and like everything in the marketing too has like looked like this is a celebration of the franchise.
It is totally.
You know, all of the set, like everything
But
being
like,
there.
there's genuinely like it is fucking. There's so much insanity in this game where it's like, oh my god, why is this even here? But like in a kind of fun way. But then there's like actually kind of touching moments as well. Like before every boss fight, it's like the aliens you're fighting are like Fu's henchmen. And
that like he's collected from space jail and space colonization along the galaxy.
Sometimes you get like these cutscenes where it's like Fu going for ramen with this person, and them just
they're
like
friends.
They're friends, and they have like genuinely interesting relationships and dynamics. Like this one guy, and Fu's like, I hate the way you're always talking shit about me, and he's like, I am the only one in your service who is going to talk shit about you, and that is why you need me. And it's like, and Fu's like, I get it. Okay, don't please keep being honest with me. And it's like in a game that's as fucking stupid and ridiculous as that, those little human moments are kind of great.
So I mean, the fact that like you're even saying that like you're having these like reactions to it, it's like, okay, Suda, he's still surprising you then, you know? He's still
This
surprising
game
us, like,
was constantly surprising.
because Suda has a way about his stuff, which is like, okay, it's gonna be weird, it's gonna be goofy, you're gonna turn your head sideways, but like after all this time, you kind of expect to just be weirded out, you know? But like if it's still effectively working, that's pretty impressive.
And like it's hard to say why that is, because I think someone else could play this game, and like the reviews for this game haven't been great. Like it's
got a real bad review on GameSpot.
Yeah,
4 out of 10 or something.
Okay.
Tomorrow, I know you listen, buddy. What happened? But he's gonna message me about that. I never want to talk shit about someone for not enjoying a game. I like if someone doesn't enjoy something, the fucking response of "you're wrong" is like the most immature, silly shit. If you don't enjoy something, you don't enjoy something. But at the same time, I just do feel like this game is weird and beautiful and stupid and creative, and I hate the fact that a game like this can get a really shitty review while something can like, you know, some AAA fucking Avengers schlock can like slime its way to a 7 out of 10, and it's like, I just feel like maybe our priorities are in the wrong place sometimes.
I have a question. So if you know nothing about No More Heroes, is this a game that is completely built on like the history of No More Heroes that you'll get the most out of it, or you go into
you will
this
get
and
the
enjoy
most
this?
out of it if you have played No More Heroes and you're familiar. So for example, like there's a girl called Kimmy in No More Heroes 2 who Travis doesn't kill.
It's a Travis
She
fangirl.
comes back in this game and she's now like a superstar. She's like Lady Gaga. You basically fight Lady Gaga with a Darth Maul lightsaber. And so stuff like that is cool, but in terms of the actual story itself, no. So someone could just enjoy this game on their own merits, I think.
It's very fun out of context, I guess, as well.
Yeah, and I think it's also the kind of thing, if you play it out of context, you might think you are missing a lot of context and things aren't making sense. No, it's just the way the game is.
The lore in No More Heroes is broken.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's very selective.
And just, I have to talk about like the last boss fight. I'm not going to get spoilery at all, but the very last fight in this game,
That last little fight.
it is one of the stupidest, funniest, most pathetic things I have ever.
But that's made in response to
It's Suda 51 knowing he's never going to get something and just doing it himself, and it is it was so ridiculous, and just I love this game. Like I really love this game. This for me is the best case scenario for what No More Heroes 3 could have been. I have problems with it. It is repetitive, you know, like getting the ranking fights, and you basically have to win 3 preliminary ranking fights every time you want to go to an assassin.
They get a bit tedious. I actually prefer doing lawnmowing jobs than doing those fights sometimes.
Yeah, but
and the game looks like a Saturn game sometimes, in a good way and a bad way.
Okay.
sometimes it looks.
It's got real jank.
I think in battle it looks really nice. Like
Yeah.
what the way they've animated like the light streaks off that, like off the not lightsaber, what's it called? Beam katana.
Beam katana.
That looks fucking great.
But then the open world stuff is just like pop in.
He
Like-
really wanted to pull off an open world, and he failed.
And like
But that's what they all are.
And like the game is badly optimized. The loading times are real bad.
And it's called a battle, that area, Brian. That place is fucked. Like,
Yeah, it is.
That is just geometry flying.
But it's
all over
probably
the
why
place.
there's that CRT filter on top to like sort of go. No, it's a feature.
Would it even be a No More Heroes game if you couldn't talk shit about the overworld? You know?
Yeah,
And then you just have No More Heroes 2. And
yeah, which is a menu.
what are we
Another
doing?
question.
Go for
How
it.
long was it?
For me, it was like 25 hours, but
For me, it was 10. I played on medium difficulty.
Oh, whoa, okay.
I'll lend you my copy later in the year. I'd
Cool.
say if you play the first hour or two, you'll get a feeling. And you'll
like if you play the first 20 minutes and you are not at least tickled, then you're not going to get anything out of it.
I've never played No More Heroes, but I have played Shadow of the Damned and Killer is Dead, so I know his vibe.
yeah, and the main guy is Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah, and just there was something a little bit magical about this game. Like, you know, it's the kind of thing where like I know I shouldn't like it as much as I do. Like there's 1,000 technical reasons to be like, nah. But when I'm real honest about how that game made me feel,
That charm wins you over.
I got real sad when it was over. And like in terms of Game of the Year stuff, I don't think it's the kind of thing I could really push that hard for, because like, you know, there's a bunch wrong with this game. And if someone was like, "Oh, I fucking hated that game," I'm not going to be like, "You're wrong," but I loved it. I really did. How'd you feel about it, Brian?
You showed me the first hour, and I went from I'll play it later in the year to me ordering it the next day, and then playing it over like 4 sittings.
Okay.
I was in.
Okay.
Yeah,
And like the way the game is set up is that like roughly every hour you have enough cash to submit to an assassination registration to fight one of the bosses. So the loop of the game is very friendly and accessible.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing else like it. Like in some ways, including the other No More Heroes games. Like it's just wild. And then they leave it on the biggest cliffhanger with Suda basically being like, "Yeah, we're probably never making another one of these."
Well, that's the thing.
perfect.
Is, I feel like that's my right off the bat, based on that whole celebration of the franchise thing. I feel like it's must also be a send off in a way.
It
You know?
is,
But,
you know, and like I'm cool with it. I never need another No More Heroes game after this. I want to see Suda keep being weird, and I think he just needs to go off and do weirder stuff now. One kind of ding I have to give it, last thing I'll say, but Henry Cooldown is not Irish anymore.
Yeah, I didn't understand the accent switch up.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
And
he's
also
just American now.
he looks like he's in the Phantom Troop.
Yes, he does look like he's
He
in the
looks like
Phantom
that dude's
Troop.
older brother.
Yeah,
So the design with the tattoos and stuff looks pretty wild. Like
Yeah,
the changes.
and he's got like a bigger forehead, and like I really liked his design the first few games with that weird bowl cut.
Yeah.
Like he looked stupid, but it was the cool kind of stupid.
so like we have now lost half the really cool Irish. Now we have
That's so
we
weird.
just have Nina Williams, and that's it.
I legitimately thought that was one of the funniest things, you know? Like, yeah, Henry Cooldown was dope.
Irish. You serious? Like,
Irish
and-
Virgil.
Yeah, and nope, not anymore.
All right. Well,
But yeah, like I thought it was an amazing game. I'd love to see more games like this. Tells its story through about 80 different mediums.
Yeah.
Anyway. Quicktime Events.
Let's knock these out quick.
This is the news section of our podcast where we bring you the news late.
Yeah, it's a bi-weekly podcast, or bi-monthly podcast, so it's the most current news eventually.
Yeah. I got this first one. Alan Wake Remastered, and it's like a quick remaster. It's out like in October, isn't it?
Yeah, so when I put this down, it was like a rumor, and then the Sony event happened, and they
Yes.
showed the trailer, and they confirmed it. So it's an Alan Wake remaster, and Alan Wake originally was an Xbox 360 exclusive.
That
So
came out in May 2010.
I know, and like I love Alan Wake. It is just like stupid Stephen King, and it's a very fun game. So I'm very excited for other people to play it. And the trailer they showed at the Sony event, it looked good, but I was like, this just looks like Alan Wake to me. It didn't look too different from what it looked like.
It's probably what the tech demo was meant to look like in the mid-2000s.
Probably. Alan Wake always looked good, so I think it just like now matches my memory, this remake of it, like at least.
the first thing I wonder is just like, will they change or include anything to fit it into the like cinematic universe they're kind of building with Control and everything that expands from it?
I can't. I could feel that they could do something because like the Alan Wake stuff with Control and like the rumors of Alan Wake 2, and they have this model made. It feels like ripe to just lead into this extended universe kind of stuff. Like I hope so. I think anyone who's a fan of Control and Alan Wake would be happy for it to go in that direction. But
Niamh, if I was not into Control, but I was curious about Alan Wake, what are the chances of me liking
do
it?
Alan Wake. Alan Wake is so much more story driven.
And
than,
you really like Stephen King as well. Like it leans
Control's
into
a
the Stephen-
vibe. Alan Wake's is a narrative.
and it's complete homage to, you know, great American writer trapped in his own novel.
What if Stephen King was really bad at writing and didn't really know it? Like that's Alan Wake. Alan Wake is so so in love with writing. He's someone who really believes in the power of writing and like just the artistry of it, but he's also like not very good at it.
I mean, Stephen King has some pretty shitty novels.
Yeah. The worst Stephen King is Alan Wake.
Okay.
Also, John, his agent...
Insomnia, that's the book. Stephen King wrote Insomnia. Wow, that fucking book.
I'm not sure if it's the same voice actor. You know that mafia guy that's in Bayonetta that, like, you know...
Oh, yeah.
Like, not
Hey,
Danny
Bayonetta!
DeVito.
Yeah. Just the little Danny DeVito gangster man. He's also in Alan Wake as his agent, and he's the only one smart enough to shield himself from the darkness by wearing Christmas lights around him. And it's like, you used your fucking head, buddy. Because Alan has a torch that he needs to constantly replace batteries with.
More Joe Pesci, actually.
Yeah.
It,
Joe Pesci. Like a very wide Joe Pesci.
Right.
Stout man.
Death Stranding 2, Norman Reedus says, what's an NDA? Niamh, did you write these titles?
Yeah,
A little bit.
I didn't hear this. What?
Norman's real cheeky with this stuff.
So Norman was having an interview, and basically he didn't say Death Stranding 2 exists. He said, I'm doing more stuff with Hideo Kojima. Death Stranding 2, yeah, it's kind of fun. Like, it was kind of like super vague. So people are like, does he mean the director's cut? Because he was maybe recording more stuff.
Yeah, guys, it's got additional content.
Guys,
kind of stuff.
open your eyes. He means abandoned.
This is what he said. I think we're doing a second Death Stranding. The game is in negotiations right now, so yay. So that was the quote. So like people are like, is it just like the extra stuff, or is a second Death Stranding happening?
You can always rely on like the actors to like fuck something up, reveal something accidentally.
Like when you think about it, like what's Hideo Kojima gonna do? Like cut Norman Reedus or like sue him? Norman doesn't give a shit.
I think there's like two ways to look at this. Like it could be very well just the DLC stuff for the director's cut, but it's also like this is like Hideo Kojima's first studio game, and they have all this assets made, you know? It's like, why not do a second game? Because you can do it faster, you can do it cheaper, you can do this stuff. The where that falls down is narratively, it doesn't really work. Why would you do a second Death Stranding?
The answer becomes because of the narrative, you know?
So it makes sense from a like, we have these assets and we could do this quick. But narratively, it makes the least sense out of any of his games ever to continue on, because it wrapped up and it was like an entire giant metaphor. Like, why metaphor 2 Electric Boogaloo? Like, it doesn't need it. Like,
the S in Strand stands for Strand.
Holy shit. People didn't love Death Stranding.
I've been watching Thor High Heels Metal Gear Solid retrospective, and it is such an amazing retrospective for making you realize how fucking insane Hideo Kojima is. Like, you know all those bits in Metal Gear that are really cool, like the rocket maze and like the girl you meet who already knows what's going on. Did you know he did that like 7 different times before the first Metal Gear Solid in different games, and about 6 times after? Like, he just keeps repeating the same scenarios over and over and over. We just haven't heard about them because they're like some Japanese Metal Gear mobile game, and he keeps doing it.
God bless him.
God bless him.
Then there was the Sony.
Okay, Niamh, Woolie, I think you are both very equipped to tell us why the KOTOR remake, how do you feel about that?
This is from the Sony showcase.
Okay, so again, I've been in honeymoon mode. I missed this announcement.
KOTOR is getting a full remake.
Really?
Knights of the Old Republic. They're back.
holy shit, wow, they're doing it, wow, okay, that's cool, that's interesting. I would say because it is, to me at least, KOTOR and KOTOR 2 are my my favorite piece of Star Wars fiction.
Yeah.
Completely. The most interesting things you can do with that franchise come from KOTOR and KOTOR 2. That's incredible. Okay, wow. After so long of nothing. Huh.
You can just keep going.
Video screenshots, anything? What do we know?
There was a little teaser trailer. You saw the Revan mask come up on screen. It looked nice, but it seems super early development.
Okay.
They did a big call for artists. And
I mean,
stuff
I'm excited.
straight
Those
after
games
this.
have seemed so cool for so long, but
Yeah.
I kind of, as someone who
They're-
didn't play them, I do look at the
they're
screenshots
rough.
and be like,
Yeah, like you can play those on mobile. You can play them
Yeah,
on
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
You can play it on mobile and shit now. But like, if you like, they're hard to go back to. You know.
I mean, I still was able to appreciate it, like playing it late, and the fact that like there's so much, like with 2 especially, like you have to mod the game to become the real version of it. I you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of there's all that jank, but god damn if it's not still just the most interesting shit in Star Wars. You know, and they've had these little weird moments of like, hey, we're gonna tease Revan a little bit in other things, and I think like Clone Wars had a reference that was supposed to happen, and then it didn't really, and then like they had what was it, the MMO kind of continues and shows some stuff, but like they tease because they know how much people love KOTOR, but they never really wanted to commit to anything. That's really surprising.
It's like, it's cool that they'll bring it back. There's like, I think KOTOR has aged a bit in some cases because like obviously BioWare games have a long history of introducing like LGBT romance into things, but like with KOTOR, like Bastila Shan is like the romance in the first game that like people care about, and that is extremely locked. Like you have to play a male character kind of to play that. So to me, what I would like in it is more like romance options, but like keep most of the stuff the same, but maybe like let a female character romance Bastila, please. Let me marry Bastila Shan. That is all I want from it.
If the lines are already recorded, you know what I mean? Just open that up.
it always weirds me out that like they will go to more effort to remove an option like that as opposed to just letting it be.
Right.
But I know it gets into a much bigger discussion. Blah, blah, blah.
And they had like a
Yosuke.
character in it, like Johanny, who's like the cat, like alien girl who you could romance if you played as a female character, but it's really like biological and we can have babies and
I
like
just fucking
kind of
killed
stuff.
her. I didn't like her. I didn't like
Woolie,
her.
that was my wife.
I hated her.
But like this is like KOTOR is cool. We're going into the like the High Republic era of Star Wars now, which is really like focused on the old Star Wars, and we're getting into the KOTOR lands where we have like Sith schools of teaching, and we have like Jedi schools, and we're getting back to that into the main canon, and they're trying to bring that back into Star Wars with High Republic.
Ancient textbooks.
Yeah, so it seems like the right time to do KOTOR if they're already doing that with their comics and their novels.
They
and
introduced that whole new era, right? I'm wondering, like, so full remake, right? Like, voice acting is so good and personal in these games, and they didn't mention KOTOR 2, right? They just mentioned 1.
It was just 1, yeah.
You'd have to re-record things, and I don't know if they'd get the same people, but
I feel like they have to.
Yeah. That seems like the kind of thing people would like start playing. So
well, almost everybody. I mean, can't get Ed Asner anymore, right?
Yeah.
He unfortunately passed away, but like,
I think they would try and get everyone they can, because that seems like the right move in that situation.
I immediately just think about 2, and I just think about Kreia, and I'm just like, I want to see that given justice and given a new audience that can actually appreciate that, because hopefully they'll come out of that going, oh yeah, that's the best thing Star Wars has. You know, I just, fuck, that's great. That's great news.
yeah.
Put the money on it, buy it, support it, make it happen. Unless it looks terrible, then don't. But
What else stood out from you guys from State of Play?
The Kid A Epic Games
Oh yeah, so
PS5.
this is the Radiohead album Kid
Yeah.
A. So Kid A and Amnesiac, which are albums made back to back, are getting a vinyl re-release later this year in November, and this is a showcase to go with Kid A, which is a great album. It's my
That is a great
Radiohead,
album.
yeah.
It is. I just fucking Radiohead.
Okay, Woolie, what's your favorite album by Radiohead?
I like today's good. I like OK Computer. That's fine too. What was the one that came afterwards? Like In Rainbows or
In Rainbows came out in 2007.
Yeah, I was like, I wasn't a fan of that. But
At that point, I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm fine now.
I mean, hey, look, Paranoid Android, all the songs. Yeah, no. My thing with Radiohead is just that, like, well, one, I fucking love Muse. They're like my favorite shit ever, and there's always this dumb comparison game that people play. But it's a really dumb personal thing. But we went to go see them live in Montreal one time, and they played, and it was a great show, and everyone in the crowd was having a really great time. And while it was happening, they were playing Just, and during it, it just so happened that it's the same night as the fireworks festival. So in the background, over the stage, fireworks during the chorus started going off, and it was fucking magical.
That's cool.
And Tom York is just like, ugh, really? Do they have to do this now? And just his whole energy, and I know he's the aloof vocalist guy, whatever.
It's okay. You can be as petty as you want.
Okay, no,
He's the aloof guy. He's supposed to be detached, but his whole attitude.
Tom hates everything.
I know, and that's why I'm just like, his whole attitude of not wanting to be there and just, hey, fuck. I was just like, fuck this. It ruined the whole vibe. The whole crowd just went like, what the fuck? It was a magical moment, and he just shits on it because that's what Tom does. And meanwhile, right, you go see performers that fucking give it 210%. Like, fuck, I mean, again, Muse, you go to see a Muse show live, and they're killing it. I know people that hate Muse that watch them live and were like, that was unbelievable just from a performance, perspective.
They put on a good show.
Yeah. And Radiohead, or at least just Tom, just don't fucking give a shit. And I'm like, then why should I? It was a real bummer, man, and I really got upset at that.
Anyway, he's gonna really give a shit about the PS5.
Cool.
No, but like this is like it's something he can completely control down to a T. So
Okay,
maybe
that
this
is
will
it.
be the experience, because like his Netflix thing, like Anima, like was was super cool, But this is with Epic Games, so like, is it a Fortnite thing?
But like it's using the artwork of Kid A, and the artwork of Kid A is really cool, and the album insert's really cool. It's that weird mid-2000s digital art collage stuff where they're like data moshing, but it wasn't called data moshing then, and that like has aged real well in kind of contemporary digital art.
Okay.
As long as it's not an NFT, it looks
Generally,
cool.
I like the idea of like music experiences coming to the PlayStation. Like, I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So it's an album interactive experience.
It's basically like
Yeah.
Hatsune Miku, but it's Tom York.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Johnny Greenwood and the rest of the lads, they're all there.
I like that idea for music. That could be cool. Yeah.
But it is,
Res
I
is
think,
proof of that.
PS5
Yeah.
exclusive, which also maybe not so cool.
Yeah. Well, who has one?
Yeah.
That's not great.
I first experienced the PlayStation experience when I was like scrolling down and I just saw Project Parasite and I was like, oh, a new Parasite Eve game. And I was like then I saw all like that the ass trailer and I was like,
Yeah.
well, that was what the third game was like. And then the further that trailer went on, I was like,
That
oh,
game was so full of ass. It was
Yeah.
just like
Third
every
birthday, we
second.
doing this?
yeah.
Oh boy.
I mean, like,
That's one big birthday.
I like those monsters. Those are some fucking gross monsters. But yeah, it's like, I get it. She has an ass. Like, you've made that very prominent 20 seconds into this minute-and-a-half trailer. But
yeah, I mean, you were talking about Sayada Uta. You want to go into third birthday and where that?
I
fucking
did
goes?
not know what I was playing, Woolie.
John likes a certain kind of game, and we'll just
Bryan.
leave him to...
It's not true.
No, John.
Look, you can drag me for liking a lot of shit. Weird fucking anime No.
John likes his games Undertale and Senran Kagura only, please.
I mean, it's a little more varied than that. But...
They also showed more of the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff that I think everyone kind of like went, oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
there you go.
You've shown that. Like,
What do you guys
and
think of Forspoken?
I kind of like the idea that it's this like isekai with like a normal human girl being.
The way she's dressed.
Yeah, like, she's just a normal
interesting.
person.
She looks like
Some
a
of
girl,
the
yeah.
traversal stuff was fucking cool. It's
pretty.
Yeah.
I think There was something about the trailer though that was very American blockbuster trailer. Like there's two bits in particular where she's like whoa 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 whoa, and that's like in I would say half the like modern action trailers, and then another where she's like I can freaking do this, and it's like this is the Spider-Man trailer, and that put me off a bit. But like there's something interesting about that.
I would be curious to see reviews. This is the team that did 15, and like I found that world quite barren, and like when I look at this world and her moving across it, like the movement looks cool, but I also think the world looks pretty barren kind of thing. So I'm like, I'm hoping it's an interesting world to be in, but I'm also like interesting in this like there isn't a lot of female characters in Final Fantasy kind of stuff, and it's like this Square game where you're bringing just, that.
You know, if it's going to be a boys' adventure, just
no girls allowed.
So I'm hoping it's good, but it's something that I'm really going to want to see reviews for, because I don't really have a lot
Square are fucking weird.
Yeah, so like I feel like that could go like people could love this, or it could be like
might be the glorified tech demo vibe. Yeah.
And like the character at the end looked cool, but then I did sort of feel like, wow, I kind of feel like this whole game right now is this one environment, this character model, and this character model, and so where it's going to go from here, fucking anybody's bet.
Yeah,
I've seen all the fashion renders; they're showing those off. You know, so.
Then the big game was left till the end. That is God of War 2.
Yeah. So again, in the dark, the only thing I've seen is Thor. And all I can say is like, this is what peak performance looks like. You know, you might not like it, but
okay, I have something
that's
to say.
An absolute unit.
Yep. I have something to say about this, right? Like back when jiu-jitsu was legal, like when you'd see like a guy with like a real tight guy with like a six-pack and arms coming in, you come in and you twist that fucker up in a second. If you see a guy the shape of Thor,
a big round one,
and like even if he was completely untrained, I'd be like, oh Jesus fucking Christ, here we go, because like you can't do anything to him because he's that strong.
So my boxing coach, the exact same thing. He's talked about how bodybuilders come in and they're all ripped, and these like guys that are just jacked and they think they're gonna do well here, and it's like, no, you don't have what it takes. You don't have the
and like that
strength training.
Like, it took me a couple of times of being like, I can just twist these guys. This is fun. But then like a couple of times of just like as you're saying, Bryan, a unit comes in,
a big shredded exercise ball of a man.
But like or like when the fridge comes in, the fridge man comes in. I'm like,
you can't put your arms around them.
Just like
they don't
and like
meet in the middle.
I try and choke him, and he has no neck. It's like these are the people that will fucking annihilate you. You know,
there's a great clip that's been going around with this discussion that like it's just like a world's strongest man that's just like answering this question, and he's like, it's like, hey, why don't you have abs? And he's like, oh, abs are not sign of power, they're signs of starvation. You know, and you're just like, that's exactly
abs are to do with the water retention in your body.
Yeah, it's got to be a dude who's dehydrated and sucking in as much as he can.
Yeah, like, do you know, to get abs, what a lot of weightlifters do is they will down a bottle of wine and it will suck all the moisture from them. And you can do that shit.
Like superhero actors will talk about like how like they have to starve to get that one day of shooting on set to have the perfect triangle shape, you know? So Thor looks like the guy that they told you about in God of War 1, the asshole that did all these things, but is also just a fucking drunken mess. And you know what I mean? Like all the stories Mimir tells you about Thor, you're like, what a fucking god, this dude's a dick, you know? And you see him here and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. They kind of kept him hidden, like, and cloaked up in the credits there with the first one, and like I can see how like a bunch of people were just like, I was expecting a cloaked edgelord with his hammer to show up. It's like, nah, dude, let's have something interesting. You know,
like, that's the thing.
Yeah,
we are having a conversation about this character design, and to me, to some point, it's like they tried something.
Yep, straight up.
Yeah, like otherwise it would just be a palette swap of Kratos. It would just be Redbeard Kratos. Yeah.
If this was six-pack Thor, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
No, so the design is successful.
Yeah.
It looks very God of War-y. I like that Freya seems to be an antagonist in this, and they're bringing her back into it, because like I kind of felt like the narrative fell down with her towards the end. So I'm happy to see her back and kind of be like a powerful figure in it, kind of stuff.
And I mean, I'm just thinking too, like even Baldur was like kind of like skinny and lanky. Like he wasn't exactly that jacked either, you know. So I just
Contrasting body types. It's good.
yeah. I love that you're hearing a little bit older of a voice on the boy, you know, and
He's teen now.
and they've introduced the I forgot her name, but like her lore existence is that of basically the wife that he has, according to Norse mythology. But like I hope that the narrative kind of continues the strength of what they did with that last one, because like the denouement in that game is probably like one of the best ever. You know, the way it ends out on just such a fucking simple and clean, nice note. You know, I feel like if there's more to tell here, I hope it keeps that sort of strength up. You know,
It feels like it has good momentum to get to a trilogy with this, because like lore-wise, it would probably end up with Kratos fighting his son Loki, like narratively, and like we've gone from boy to teen to kind of maybe getting to another place that I can see them getting a third, fourth game out of this that that ends with them fighting each other, and I think that could be powerful narratively kind of thing, that you've like raised this boy, through these games, and you've got there.
Certainly a kind of storytelling that would be so different in a film. Like that's what you want to see. Like I want. It would be cool. Like I wasn't crazy about the first God of War, but like I think that idea is really powerful. That you raised this kid and you took care of him, and now you have to fight him, not Kratos, and that's kind of cool.
And the if I remember correctly, God, it's been a while, but I feel as if they didn't reveal everything about his wife, right? We still don't know all the details of what went down and everything, right? So there's more answers that could come here. So yeah, right on.
There's gaps in the story that could be filled.
Real quick, Deltarune Chapter 2 out tomorrow. We have not played it as of yet, but it will be out if you are listening to this. I am excited. I liked that first one.
Yeah, Deltarune's so good.
Can't wait for the music.
Oh, just give me just like something half on the level of what's it Fields of Hopes and Dreams. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Or God, the theme for the super boss Jester, round and round and round. Do you know, like in Deltarune, like these?
I know the super boss. I never fought.
Yeah. Oh, it's the best song in the game.
Okay.
I mean, as with Undertale, right? Like you go that far, you get rewarded, and the best song in the game is the Jester fight. Like fucking amazing.
Niamh, do you want to read this last headline?
I wrote it so someone else could read it, maybe.
Okay. I think you should give it your best shot, Niamh.
Bluetooth audio support on my Switch? It's more likely than you think.
And then in brackets, also PS5 screenshot improvements. So there's been 2 updates on the Switch and on the PS5 respectively. And there's some nice little neat updates that were long overdue. So with the Switch, it now supports Bluetooth audio, which is very unusual because it's always had Bluetooth connectivity, but not with audio. The PlayStation Vita has Bluetooth audio, and that came out in 2012.
Classic Nintendo.
And I've used my Vita on an airplane with my Bluetooth headphones, and it's been a very normal experience. And when I tried to recreate that on the Switch in 2017, and was like, it's not there?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it'll be there soon. And you know what? Here we are in 2021, and it's going to be okay.
4 years later.
If we just give Nintendo a rough decade between that and the competition, they'll catch up.
They just don't give a fuck about the proficiency of little technical details, and they'll build it in, and then I'm happy it's here, but what the fuck, man? And
it's when people get on Nintendo shit for not managing friendship codes right and not handling the online stuff, and it's just wait another 10 years, dude. They'll get what are you getting so mad about? What's the rush, buddy?
Did you not see the phone on the desk in the promo video?
Yeah,
Talk to your friends on the phone.
You just download the Splatoon 2 app, and it's
it's fine. And then the PS5 one about the screenshots was very simple, but I should have done it.
Yeah. So if you take a screenshot on the PS4 or the PS5, the little icon comes up in the right hand side corner to let you know that you've taken a screenshot. But if you're waiting and you're trying to capture a mid animation pose, or you're just trying to get the perfect shot, you will screen cap the screen cap icon.
Because it takes 5 seconds to fade off. So it looks like a TV channel logo in the corner.
So your best capture that you might get will always have that little camera icon in the corner, and you're like,
And you gotta
fuck.
Photoshop that out.
Yeah, you gotta like blend them with the other one and get it out of
That's
there.
a dumb oversight.
But now there's a toggle
They
to
fixed it.
Nice.
You can turn
it's,
it
it's
off.
cool because like that is a really dumb oversight, but the amount of like just little niggling system errors like that just
Yeah.
never get fixed.
But like, this is a thing where I don't even want like this fixes like that it doesn't even come up to tell you that you've taken it, and like I would even like that it came up. It just doesn't need to be captured. Like, why are you capturing the icon?
Because there is stuff in like tech like this where because you know the way I screenshotted a Wi-Fi or a code for you guys, but when you screenshot it, it actually like redacts that part of the text. So there is a way to like
You can hide parts of it. Yeah.
there is a way to redact a layer, and that could be its own layer that's invisible on a screenshot, but it's visible internally.
I mean, for parts like that, like for things like that, I've just recorded a clip and then found the exact frame I was looking for. But like, yeah, no, that's a simple quality of life that makes sense. Yeah.
For people who are into like screenshotting and like getting
And
like
want a
that
nice,
perfect
clean-
shot,
yeah,
like at as high a resolution as they can, like it is a godsend. And finally, I took an entire generation.
Takes a lot of photos.
I love screenshotting.
Oh yeah. Ghost of Tsushima, that was so much fun. Setting up the camera mode.
Yeah, I love a good camera mode.
Emails. I think this is maybe a record lateness for LFAB, but I mean, this is Woolie's bachelor party, right?
Yeah, yeah, and you know, I mean, look, the podcasts I do never ever fucking end. So my presence here extends it to 4 or 5 hours. I understand. I'm fucking used to it.
Woolie, 98% of our audience are so fucking happy you're here, and there's going to be 2% who are like, who the fuck is this Woolie? And I'm just going to say to them, dude, chill. It's fine. It's fine.
Dude, Woolie's here, it's fine.
You're not missing much.
If you have a complaint, send us an email.
Yeah, castlesuperbeast@gmail.com.
That's not even the real one.
What's our email?
Ask let's fight a boss @gmail.com.
It's askletsfightaboss@gmail.com.
Sometimes Niamh says it and it sounds like ask let's fight a boss @gmail.com. Never gets old. In 160 episodes, never gotten old.
See, if it was only so simple as podcast name @gmail.com, but that's not how it works out, is it?
No.
No, and I'm sure people do email Let's Fight a Boss.
Oh, I'd say
Yeah.
Let's Fight a Boss has gotten more emails than Ask Let's Fight a Boss. And you know who's to blame for that? Me. A decision I made 6 years ago. Why? I have no idea. I never thought this would actually become a real podcast.
There you go. Like, I have to tell people, like, it's Castle Super Beast mail, you know. But God bless them. Back in the day, the person who basically had these super best friends, like not friend cast, just friends name, would then forward all those emails to me.
Oh, that's chill of them.
Yeah, and just be like, hey, someone else thinks I'm you. Here you go, you know. And I was like, I'm sorry. You know, it is what it is. Anyway.
Life goes on. It's a strange one. Okay, I got one email here. This podcast is called Let's Fight a Boss. This is the boss question.
Okay.
Okay, howdy LFAB. LFAB. I don't like that name. There we go. Okay, and this is from Wes.
You don't like LFAB?
Yeah, why don't you like Alpha?
I like LFAB.
I know,
I
yeah.
was saying LFAB.
Yeah,
all-
Woolie's
Yeah.
been LFABing all over the place.
I coined LFAB a few years ago and immediately regretted it. I'm like that guy who made Dynamite that was like, shit. Shouldn't have made Dynamite. Wes asks, howdy LFAB. Got some questions for you operating the assumption that your podcast is a video game and you 4 are the bosses.
Okay.
Okay, first off, what outfit would you wear as your boss outfit?
Do you know Heihachi's like diaper from Tekken 4?
Just so you don't shit in the park.
I mean, that would be a bonus.
Gotta call it back to it.
Late callback.
Yeah, I
That's a
was
good
waiting.
one.
I was waiting.
That's a good
Okay, mine is I want to look like a sleazy pub magician, and I'm dressed in a like tuxedo, but it has a like deck of card pattern on it. I'm not a magician. There's no magic. There's no magic to my like attack patterns or anything. I'm just dressed like an asshole.
I'm a giant egg, but with 3 faces, like all around it.
Okay.
And
yep.
like I only communicate in opera singing.
Yeah.
And like it's just very
Wow.
large. And if you beat it, it cracks open, and there's another form inside the egg.
Oh, that's an expensive
pretty
boss.
good.
got
That's
layers.
pretty good.
Woolie.
Yeah, absolutely. Top of the tower, Yakuza style, just loose, dirty suit that gets ripped off to reveal the glowing tattoo on the back for phase 2 because Yakuza.
That's pretty good.
It's a good set piece. Okay, I guess that leads into the next one. What's the theme or gimmick of your dungeon, castle, etc.? Okay.
Each head is an element, and it switches like fire element, water element, earth element, and you have to like switch up your like anti-elements against
You've
it.
stopped designing an actually good boss fight, okay?
Sorry.
Okay, mine is a pub garden. Like it's a beer garden at a pub. And there's broken glass everywhere. And there's kind of like those artificial hedges. And a lot of picnic tables that are just real sticky. And they slow the player down.
For my boss room, it just has a sign that says no shoes. So you just have to take them off.
And so like, is it like an elemental void with just a little sign?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Every level of the tower up to the way, or to the top level where I am, has you facing an incarnation of a loved one in your worst nightmare version of them, and you have to overcome whatever that might be as it inverses from the way you remember them.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your environment.
My environment, I'm gonna say it's just a fighting octagon, and the way you beat me is just like physical attacks do nothing, but then you're like, I didn't really like your last video that much, and I disintegrate and blow away in the wind.
Okay.
The algorithm.
So Woolie's like keeps second guessing these ones where he's like leading into the next one, which is who would you recruit as your mini boss?
Oh,
So like you already have like trauma memory.
Your closest loved
Yeah.
ones on every level.
Yeah. So for me, it's just like, I know Niamh was kind of talking about like another version of it. I do want like a Russian doll situation where
I kind of want like a version of me exactly scaled down 40%.
so like
Talk
so
to me
like
or my son ever again.
yeah, so like that, like it's not a clean 50%. It's a tiny bit smaller, and that's kind of like annoying with the ergonomics.
Yeah. And like it really is just a Photoshop hold shift scale down.
My sub boss is called Eggman, and it's an old man with a basket of eggs, and like I'm the final egg, obviously, with who's elemental and large. But like he like throws out different elemental eggs that you have to fight.
Okay, mine's just an old lady throwing darts,
Oh fuck.
and like she shows up during phase 2. Oh, it's no. So she is a mini boss, but then she has like a return on attack during phase 2, and you have to avoid her shit while trying to fight me, like off stage. Okay, what song would play during your fight? I'm gonna have Papa Roach's Last Resort, but like a MIDI version.
I think I gotta go with House of the Rising Sun.
I mean, it would be a pretty long fight, but let's say Exogenesis Symphony. That's a
What is that? Some kind of nerd
Muse.
shit?
It's a Muse thing.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
It's an original song that I wrote called Egg Blaster.
Okay, and so let's
Niamh, no, hang on. Niamh, could you just give us a few bars of Egg Blaster? Just with your mouth, go.
is the song like experimental?
it's very experimental, Bryan. Like I can't even sing it.
So like the main instrument is like a garden shed that someone's like scratching
it's
on.
like when Trent Reznor has a box of like rocks and he's just shaking it, but like someone's screaming, it's an egg throughout.
It's just full on construction
Yeah.
site. Okay, let's get into some specifics.
Okay.
How does your fight work?
Elemental.
Okay.
I don't know how to get more specific with mine. Like all your regular game mechanics are there. They just don't work at all. But there's just this little option that's just talk, and then the talk is just all the devastating things you can say.
That's good.
I guess, overcoming the layers of your loved ones and your horrible memories and such, and making your way to the top. I'm gonna try to use them against you one last time by basically pulling them in for like specific attacks, almost as strikers, And, you know,
So-
like...
At the end of Doctor Sleep, there is a moment when one character, Final Fantasy VII, summons the ghosts of The Shining all at once onto another character. Is that what we're talking about?
I was thinking Knights of the Round, you know, and just you dealing with that, whatever that might be personally for you. I feel like that stands a pretty strong chance. And if you can overcome it, you will be unstoppable. You deserve to win, you know?
I want mine like the King Bob-omb and Bob-omb Battlefield in Mario 64, where you have to pick him up and throw him,
Pick you up.
or he'll pick you up and throw you.
But if you're the boss, isn't someone picking you up and throwing you
yeah,
up?
okay, so you got to pick up Evil Bryan.
You gotta pick up you. Or just regular Bryan.
No, I'm good boy. I'm good. Not bold. You're bold.
I am kind of bold.
So you pick up Evil Bryan and you throw him, but if you throw him off the stage, then he yeets back in and goes, "You're doing it wrong. Only I may do that. You have to do this properly." Resets the fucking timer. You have to go like right back, and it plays the unskippable cutscene again.
So
like fuck him.
I have been in specific scenarios with Bryan where that exact thing happens. Bryan has a way to do things, and the worst part is he's usually right. You usually agree with him afterwards. You're like, you know what, Bryan, that was actually a better way of doing this.
Did you?
Rotating heads all have an element. You're fighting one of them. You're using ice. It's like healing me now because it's now the ice head, and you know, because she's like going,
it up.
Yeah.
she's chattering teeth. She's kind of blue. Like, you should tell. You
Got
know.
to counter with the other elements. Okay. Did you enjoy these questions?
I did. And I came up with better answers for them after I said the thing, but it's fine. We moved
It
past
is the way of emails.
Yeah, that
That's
always
what
happens. There's always the retroactive. Damn, I had a funny answer.
Who was that by?
That was from Wes.
Thanks,
Thanks, Wes.
Good stuff.
Thank you. That's it.
That's it.
That's that one email we get this episode.
Right now we've been recording for well over 3 hours and we're tired.
Yeah, but the wine's still flowing.
The
so,
wine's
you know.
still flowing.
But that's okay, because we gotta do...
My favorite part of the entire podcast. It's the Patreon shoutouts. Okay, now I'm just gonna like usually Woolie, I do an incredibly like just creative, dynamic pitch for why someone should join our Patreon. I'm just gonna cede this to you. Go for it.
Me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, don't you like it?
I mean,
Can you solicit our podcast to strangers,
like
please?
Woolie, pretend that you're not already subscribed to our Patreon and try and just envision like someone who wasn't.
I like kites, and I think they're cool, but even cooler is supporting the premier Irish gaming podcast.
You can leave out Irish.
I'm going to emphasize it. It's a specific thing that comes to mind. LFAB is a pretty good name. I think if you support the Patreon,
You too, like Woolie, can also become a patron.
well, here's,
Right, Woolie?
Well, here's what happens.
Willie's
is-
canonically a patron.
by joining and signing up, right? Every month you will donate to growing the wolf tattoo on John
That is where it directly goes.
more across his body, so it eventually becomes a full powered up top to bottom sleeve, back, front, everything. And the more you subscribe and the more you support, the bigger that tattoo gets. So feed the wolf.
Feed the wolf. I mean,
Feed the wolf.
I might steal that.
We have a Discord. There's a great community. I want to give a shout out to the mods specifically.
Sweethearts.
Okay, we got Foxcade. We got Alt, the egg, my dear sweet egg. We got Boira. And we have Onidino, our editor.
Oni. What a fucking king.
Shout out to Foxcade. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's alright.
Anyway, we've got some great
He
mods.
beat me in Yu-Gi-Oh! Recently. I'm pretty
Gotcha.
fucking salty about it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Our mods are on a tight ship. There's a great community on our Discord. We have a channel called Patreon Shoutouts. If you shout us out, we will read it out, and it sounds something like this. I'll do the first one, and it's from Dan Streetcar, and it says, "I love it when John says Bryan's name in that angry way."
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
Bryan?
That's it.
It's Why do I have to say this?
They asked specifically
I
for you.
don't feel comfortable saying... Like, this isn't a word I've ever said.
This is the perk of joining.
I know, but it feels like this one's...
Wow, while I'm sitting here...
What? Wait, what? I don't know what's happening.
I'm glad we have wine.
I'm confused. I don't know what happened.
Not my apartment. Say the word, John.
Wait, no.
What word would you never say?
Well, it's 2 words, and neither of them are that bad by themselves, but I'm not comfortable. You fucking piece of shit, Woolie, I swear to God. Hope you fucking enjoy being on Let's Fight a Boss Week, because it's the last fucking time, okay? Everyone who's going to be like, oh, this is a really good episode now that Woolie's here. Shut up! He's never coming back.
What's that? Oh, he blended in so well. It was it was great. The synergy was beautiful. You know, I see it now.
I didn't appreciate it. I thought there were several awkward spots of the episode.
I thought the most awkward spot was the spot you left down behind the fucking park or wherever that spot was. Okay, yeah. Anyway.
It's a shitting hole.
You see?
I can't... Okay, just to bring it back, I can't emphasize enough how much I am not ashamed of that.
Okay.
Okay? Like, just to be clear, if you want to come at me and you want to do some damage, that's just going to be Pokemon not very effective, okay? I did what I did what I had to do, and I'd fucking do it again.
John, say the word.
I want to hear Josh say nipple clamps. Nipple clamps.
Niamh.
That was from Lord Weeaboo.
It was indeed.
This is from Min Lee, and this says, friendly reminder that supporting LFAB on Patreon is less than half the price of Fallout First for more than double the enjoyment. Do you guys remember Fallout First?
That's true.
So
that's the subscription to Fallout 76. Yeah.
Yep.
Is that still going? Can you still
Oh God,
pay that?
I cannot confirm nor deny it's still going.
So, kind of fun thing, Woolie, is we do 3 Patreon shoutouts an episode. The problem is this podcast somehow ended up far too successful.
Well.
And these are from 2019.
But there's one more, and it's just at the very top. If you say the user and then their quote, and they're really going for that dramatic pause.
Okay, all right. Nameless Dragon Rage says, "Look out there, over the horizon. Is that a gamer?"
Wow,
Nice.
cool name. Sounds like he's part of a really cool organization.
So there's a sub-community on the Discord called the Nameless Woolie, and they're a bunch of weird John freaks. And John goes by the Nameless on our Discord, and they're really
I don't want to get into too much lore, but there's a contest to be who's crowned the queen of the Let's Fight a Boss every year, and
Okay.
someone might have pulled off the heist of the century this year and gotten away with it and revealed himself to be the Nameless one. I've been talking about the Nameless one all year. Everyone was so fucking shocked when it was actually me.
I actually did think it was going to be Woolie. I thought you were going to get Woolie on the podcast. But here he is. But he's
a fucking chump like Woolie being the Nameless one. But basically, Bryan gets especially salty about it, but the Nameless are just a group of like-minded individuals who share business networking tips on our Discord, and we have a private server, and no one's allowed in there, Bryan.
He's got a cult. Got it. Okay, sounds good.
It's not a cult.
It is. And he'd like for me to remove myself from there, but I don't know how.
I've asked Bryan if he could ban himself from that particular channel, but we haven't figured out a way to do that.
No, we
yet.
haven't. So I'm just in there, just sort of kicking a door through, but we'll see. Anyway, let's move on to the final section of the podcast. The
loot drop.
Sorry, we'll do that one again.
Bryan, if you ever talk over one of my title announcements again, that's it. We're done.
I thought you were like doing something over there with your body. You were very busy.
I feel like that is a very specific way to describe drinking a glass of wine.
Yeah, but you were doing like a hand and a shake as well.
He is a busybody. Yeah.
What do you mean by that, Woolie? What do you mean by that? You want to fucking start some shit here?
I'm in Dublin. Mm-hmm. I'll start some shit in Dublin.
Oh, can we have a fight? Just so.
I just think we should really have a fight club.
Look, we can do the usual fight club we do after every podcast, okay? I'm not fighting Niamh again. It hurts too much.
We should go to the bins and just throw it down.
Yeah.
I'll just toss a hedgehog, see what happens.
Toss a hog. That shit'll explode. The loot drop.
The loot drop.
Niamh.
Am I going first? Okay, mine is just music, so like, sorry. But my first one is a band called Muna, who I really enjoy. They have a new song called Silk Chiffon, and it's just a really like, I don't know, it's featuring Phoebe Bridgers, and it's a really like, you know, just like pumped up celebration of queer WLW lesbian like love and desire, and it's just a really cool song. And then Dublin Owns Pillow Queens have released a new video for their song Rats, and go support an Irish indie band who are just like making waves, and they're really like doing cool stuff, and Rats is a really cool song. So Muna and Pillow Queens, new music. What more do you want? Listen to gay stuff.
Keep it gay.
Thanks, Bryan.
Sure.
The Muna video is great. It has like a whole homage to like a But I'm a Cheerleader.
I've seen this, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're wearing the like color-coded polo shirts.
Yep.
Yes.
It's very good.
John, have you got a loot drop?
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. I'm gonna loot drop that entire Thor High Heels retrospective about Metal Gear Solid. What I love is like there's a real fascination for Metal Gear Solid in this retrospective. It's like 8 parts or 14 parts or something, but there's also a total like Kojima's a fucking weirdo, and I think it's nice to see a video essay that doesn't completely deify him, you know, where it's really like, yeah, here's what he did again. it's just great, and like, you know, I'm a huge fan of Thor High Heels stuff in general, and this is some of his best stuff.
I have 2 loot drops. I have a YouTuber, a Japanese dude called KK Noji, and this dude has 1,000 subs on YouTube, and what he does is he does alternate builds of Lego sets. And so he gets the alligator set and he turns it into a stag beetle. And I was like, you're not meant to do that with Lego.
That's cool.
And as someone who strictly follows the instructions and cannot like build my own stuff with Lego because I just do not have that part of my brain like woke. This dude like has tapped into the brick and he can like see it constructed in a different way. It's amazing. But he like he does beetles, but then you go into the channel, he does a lot of like Digimon and Metabots for some reason, which is, you know, someone's making Metabot Lego, and this dude is, this dude has 1,000 subs. I found him by accident on Instagram because it was recommended, and then I was like, okay, he's a YouTube channel, I'll do drop him.
It's real nice when you find someone with like 1,000 subs or whatever, because you can really see like the ripple of like he's gonna get like, I would say 100, 200 out of that, and I bet he'll really appreciate it. He'll never know where it came from, but
yeah. And then the other one was I was a guest on another podcast a few weeks ago called Serious Issues, a comic book podcast. We did a Jojo Part 8 spoiler cast. Ooh. It was an hour-long episode where we just talked shit about how much we love Part 8.
So, Woolie, which Super Patch Wolf video would you like?
I guess, yeah, okay.
How about your Shin Megami Tensei Let's Play?
I'll loot drop,
you know, we generally consider it kind of bad form to loot drop your own
I
stuff.
will loot drop 2 things. One of them will be, Woolie Versus. You can check it out. It's a channel on YouTube. We play games, and
also, I'll just say, occasionally drop very good video essays. I'll drop the kayfabe for a second.
Extraordinarily rarely, but thank you. I appreciate that. Most recently, if you wanted to get into the Guilty Gear story, for example, I did a full explainer of the story of Guilty Gear from the beginning all the way up through to Exerd.
In exhaustive detail, and like, it's cool that you made it comprehensive, but I will also say you did make it entertaining, and that is an achievement in itself.
Thank you. I worked extremely hard. I fucking burned myself out. But hey, ArcSys liked it, and it's officially supported, so that's really, really cool. Over on Woolie Versus, and I have a podcast called Castle Super Beast, which it's kind of similar to the vibe we had here today, really.
It's much worse, but yeah.
Dude, we talk shit in video game. It just, all right.
It's not even the need.
Don't forget who made you.
There's no need.
Don't forget who made you. All right. Okay, we're here. It's fine.
I birthed you on the internet.
I mean, if the channel and then the podcast came
Fucking Hunter x Hunter. If you had kept your goddamn mouth shut, Woolie. Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm a fucking video essayist. I sure dreamed of being this when I was a child.
Flew halfway across the world just to hear this.
Again.
And no, I will actually loot drop something I've recently fucking loved is Dan Carlin's Hardcore History is one of the best ways to just learn about things in history if you don't know them and you want an entertaining podcast. He does these great like episodes about given topics, and sometimes he does a series. I spent pretty much the entire time driving around Iceland listening to his series.
It's pronounced Ireland. And also, Woolie, like when you said that thing there, why did you kind of have a little pause? Like, if you want to listen to a entertaining podcast, like what was with that? What was with that pause? Like, what was that about?
I'm pretty sure, Let's Fight the Boss. Pretty cool podcast.
It's pretty cool.
Just full on fucking, if you don't want to have a producer all up in the video starting shit. Yeah, listen. No, Dan Carlin's Hardcore History is great. And I listened to, he did a full thing about the supernova in the East, which is basically the Imperial Japan, World War II, like the side of things, their perspective, and how, a lot of World War II is told and a lot of focus on like, the Germany and the Allies and things like that, but like zooming in on like what was happening in Japan and the specifics of how insane that whole thing was. It was incredible.
Even like the just, I don't know, the running notes you gave me was like, what the fuck?
It more or less, it starts on the note of like that soldier that was found fighting until the 70s in the Philippines, who was like on his own and he wouldn't believe the war ended.
Oh dear.
And like he was a dude that like, they literally only got him to stop when they brought in his commander years later to be like, hey man, the war's over. And he's like, okay, fine. But he fought for years, and they're like, what creates a soldier that's willing to do that? And you just go in and like, it's a long series. It's 6 parts, but it's goddamn fantastic for learning history. So Dan Carlin, Hardcore History, shout out.
That's another episode in the bag.
That's an episode in the bag. Willie, how you feeling?
What a day. This is con vibe.
Yeah, totally.
Times fucking 10.
You were the first ever guest on an official numbered Let's Fight a Boss.
We've done a Jojo special with my partner Rebecca. That's lost to time. Unfortunately, that was like in 2015. It's been a long time.
We're not being cute. We genuinely just lost it.
Yeah, it's been we normally don't do guests.
Okay.
You have to come here.
You have to come here, right?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't call someone in like that. That's bullshit. They have to physically be in the room with us.
Fair enough.
So that's Woolie, the last ever guest on Let's Fight a Boss.
Unless someone makes it to here.
I'm honored.
Personally, I felt it was a bit of a letdown.
Okay. Well,
like,
I loved it. I thought it was great.
I just had, I'm just being real here.
I just like to help out the little guys, like smaller content creators, and
totally,
just like get a spotlight.
Ends. It never fucking ends. Dear God.
It's just that like here in Ireland, there's very few people who know who you are, so we're just trying to give you that shout out.
Yeah.
We
Give
were
you that
on the streets in Dublin today, and someone recognized me and walked past him.
I don't remember that.
Go on. No,
We took a photo.
that's really cool.
That's great.
Imagine someone's
John,
in
did that
Dublin and they
happen?
just see Woolie. Like that must be so surreal for them as well.
I'm a fucking white Irish guy in Ireland. You think I stand out?
Thank you for listening, everyone.
Woolie, so generally, like at the end of a Let's Fight a Boss episode, we like to kind of end on something kind of like sort of funny, but like a little bit profound, and something that kind of sums up the whole episode. So just take it away.
How are you still hitting? Why have you not hit the stop button yet?
This is funny.
Okay, now Bryan, let's just let him go for a minute or two.
Hit the fucking button.
Do you know what? Maybe I should hit the record button because we need to do a podcast soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.